Chapter 383. The Ghost Emperor knelt down on the spot. He no longer had his emperor-level aura, and his helpless face revealed a trace of sorrow. Which era's emperor-level expert was in a worse state than him? When he was in seclusion in his coffin, his emperor origin and yin-yang flower were stolen. When he was just born and wanted to take revenge, he was led by the nose into a fire pit, and was almost burned to death. It was said that one who survived a great disaster would have good fortune in the future. However, the Ghost Emperor was deeply hurt by the world's evil intentions. This time, he improved quickly and was almost able to prove his Tao. Before he was born, he was played twice by a little girl. Heavens! Open your eyes and look at me. Who is more unlucky than me? The Ghost Emperor cried and cried helplessly in his heart. When he thought about how he would be tortured to death in an incense stick's time, he could only open his mouth and beg for mercy. Fairy, don't go. This old man knows his mistake. Please forgive this old man's impulse. This time, I am willing to sincerely submit. The Ghost Emperor gritted his teeth and said, I'm sorry, this princess only trusts people once. If you disappoint me, there will not be a second chance. As for you, TSK, you wasted a great opportunity. Shino curled her lips and said. The Ghost Emperor clenched his fists and did not dare to argue. He could only lower his head and beg. He said hoarsely, Fairy, this old man was blind. It is my fault. I am willing to make up for it as a slave. I am willing to do anything for Fairy. Then, all right, tell me how you can make me believe you. Shino was extremely cunning and threw the difficult question to the other party. I am willing to establish a heavenly contract. If I betray Fairy, I will be struck by lightning and my Tao heart will be shattered. The Ghost Emperor said without hesitation. Shino's lips curled up. Obviously, she did not believe in any heavenly contract. She only believed in herself. At the edge of the universe, in the Qinling Mountains, Emperor Ye's eyes were lifeless. He hugged his divine zither and stepped towards the ultimate heaven ocean. Beside the sea cliff, Emperor Yi played a heavenly divine song. It was solemn and heroic as it swept up thousands of waves and slammed towards the opposite shore. The young girl was not used to Emperor Ye's departure. She had been standing on the shore of the desolate island, and felt that the ultimate heaven ocean was not calm. She could not help but feel surprised. Her divine sense spread out endlessly as if it passed through the endless universe, and locked onto Emperor Yi. She reached out her hand and grabbed him. When Emperor Yi saw the young girl, he could not help but burst out crying. The girl's eyebrows twitched and her anger rose. She coldly asked, Why are you crying? I told you not to go back. Sister, he is gone. He is gone. You taught me the cultivation technique. I want to take revenge. Wah. Emperor Yi cried helplessly. Dead. He doesn't look like someone who would die young. What happened? The young girl raised her eyebrows. Her fingertip brushed past Emperor Ye's forehead and forcefully stole his memories. She saw the battle that year, the most tragic battle in the endless universe. It was Yi Qinghan's peak battle. There was no regret or heartache. It was as if he was really heartless. She just felt surprised and muttered, I underestimated him. It seems that humans are not that selfish after all. Forbidden ground. Forget it. I will take revenge for you. I don't know how many years it will take to count on you. The young girl picked up Emperor Yi and disappeared. Shua, the young girl's speed was truly unparalleled. It would not be an exaggeration to say that she was the #1 expert of the current era, or even the ancient era. She reached the opposite shore in an instant, and appeared in the Emperor region. Then, she arrived outside the forbidden ground. You stay here for now. The young girl left Emperor Yi outside the forbidden ground. She stepped into the forbidden ground and looked at the structure of the forbidden ground. She could not help but feel astonished. Looking at so many sacred medicines, she muttered, What kind of damned place is this? It is so strange. Time moves even slower than in my space. Her divine sense covered the forbidden ground, but the depths of the forbidden ground were really big. It was so big that it was boundless. There were countless corpses and dead spirits in the depths of the forbidden ground. It was like hell. The eerie white bones emitted an aura of death and blocked everything. No one knew how many powerful existences were buried here. The dead spirits were endless. As long as the eerie white bones were here, the dead spirits would never be completely destroyed. The young girl was the first to see through the forbidden ground. Her divine sense rushed into the depths and found a continuous iron mountain that towered into the clouds. Her divine sense could not penetrate the iron mountain, which made her even more shocked. Only now did she understand that the forbidden ground was not easy to deal with. Otherwise, the great emperor would have razed this place to the ground. Boom. The young girl made her move. Her slender jade-like hands actually tore apart the array protecting the divine medicine, and directly pulled it out. With a flip of her jade-like hands, the divine medicine disappeared. The forbidden ground's mountain collapsed. The first divine medicine was taken away, which woke up the great emperors in the forbidden ground. It was not only the void spirit great emperor. There were also great emperors and boundary emperors hidden under the corpses. In an instant, thousands of them woke up and looked at the young girl from afar. Another great emperor appeared in the human race. Why is there no great emperor tribulation? She is not human. What is she trying to do? More than 10 great emperor dead spirits appeared at the same time. They realized that the young girl was different. That sense of death enveloped them, and they felt that she could take them away at any time. Boom. The great emperors ignored their lives and recovered to their peak state. They looked at the young girl with vigilance. The great emperor's aura was vast and mighty, suppressing the heavens. The entire boundless universe was stunned. They did not expect that so many great emperor dead spirits would appear in such a short time. Could the human race still survive? The young girl acted as if she did not see them. She took another step forward and forcefully shattered the array of heaven and earth, taking away the divine medicine inside. The great emperor's faces were gloomy. The divine medicine in the forbidden ground had its own uses. Every time a divine medicine was lost, the order of the forbidden ground would change a little. According to the young girl's situation, she seemed to want to take away all the divine medicine in the forbidden ground. Fellow Taoist, don't be too greedy, one of the great emperors warned. The young girl's lips curled up, revealing a cold smile. The forbidden ground was dead silent. A bunch of greedy dead spirits. How dare you tell me not to be too greedy? How laughable. The young girl kept her eyes closed and looked at the great emperors with disdain. Boom. Another divine medicine was forcefully taken away. The purest array of heaven and earth could not withstand her powerful attack. Hua. 100 zhang tall mountain turned into dust. Heaven and earth rumbled, and the forbidden ground shook. The great emperor of the forbidden ground was pale. He clenched his iron fists and was about to attack. There are already 3 divine medicines. Fellow Taoist, can you leave now? A great emperor with a perfect great emperor body stepped out, and appeared less than 3,000 li in front of the young girl. I will leave when I get what I want. Please shut up. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The young girl was indifferent. At this moment, she did not want to raise the forbidden ground. There were too many dead spirits in the forbidden ground. Once the forbidden ground went out of control, she would not be able to kill so many of them. At that time, the endless universe would be destroyed in an instant. Who dared to blaspheme the great emperor's might? Even if they were at the same level, they could not be so presumptuous. The young girl's coldness immediately angered the great emperor. Die for me. Boom. The great emperor crushed the void, collapsing the dome of heaven with one palm. Even the forbidden ground shook. When the great emperor was angry, heaven and earth would collapse. Blood would dry up and bones would shatter. No one could stop him. An ant-like existence dares to attack me. The young girl suddenly flashed and appeared in front of the great emperor. Her eyes opened, and everything in her sight was petrified. The great emperor was shocked. He struck out again, and the great emperor's might was vast. He wanted to send the young girl flying. However, just as he attacked, his true yuan was petrified. The great emperor's great emperor body was also frozen. He stood there in a daze, and his eyes were filled with despair and unwillingness. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The dead spirits all retreated far away, looking at the young girl in shock. What is this? Even a great emperor can be petrified. The void spirit great emperor was awakened and asked in shock. Aunt, from today onwards, I will set the rules of the forbidden ground. Whoever dares to take half a step out of the forbidden ground will be crushed alive." The young girl said coldly. She was emotionless, and there was only her will in her eyes. No one could refute her. Domineering. There had never been such a domineering person. Facing more than 10 peak great emperors, she actually wanted to set her own rules. She wanted the forbidden ground to live under her will. I didn't expect that someone from the legendary era would still be alive today. Dao friend, do you remember this old man? A sigh shook time and space. It was as if it came from the legendary era. It was full of vicissitudes, and the great Dao was attached to it. The young girl's eyebrows moved slightly as if she remembered something. She could not help but ask coldly, "Old thing, what are you trying to do by creating this forbidden ground? Defying the heavens and changing fate, resealing the heavens, and allowing the legendary era to descend again." The vicissitudes of life sounded again, filled with his own will. Laughable. A cowardly turtle who doesn't even dare to show his head wants to defy the heavens and change fate. Resealing the heavens? Humans have always been greedy, and their nature has never changed. The young girl looked at the depths of the forbidden ground with disdain and coldly mocked. "Dao friend, why must you be so overbearing? You can evolve on your own, and rely on metamorphosis to achieve immortality. Of course, you don't care about our bitterness." A voice rang out from the depths of the forbidden ground, its tone filled with helplessness. "Then you rely on captivity to feed your own race and devour their lives? Such immortality is nothing more than this. Humans live worse than dogs. It's better to die happily." The young girl berated with disdain. Perhaps so. But does Dao friend not wish to return to the legendary era? The current world is nothing like it was in the past. You are just a bunch of ants. Even this old man doesn't care, so why should you care? That person laughed again. "I have no interest in your trivial matters. Whether or not I can break the forbidden ground and return to the legendary era is my own matter. You don't have to worry about it. But I am very curious. How many people from the legendary era are still alive?" The young girl asked curiously. The great emperor was silent. The young girl in front of him was actually an immortal from the legendary era. No wonder she could petrify the great emperor with a single glance. The forbidden ground was silent. In the vast forbidden ground, there were countless dead souls. At this moment, most of them were trembling and didn't dare to breathe loudly. The great emperor was helpless. Even the people behind the forbidden ground were forced to speak up. Quasi-emperors and pseudo-emperors were the real ants. Including this old man, there are still 4. Originally, there were 5 people. Unfortunately, Dao Friend's supreme god sacrificed himself. He was killed by his spirit pet. The old man said regretfully, "Ha ha ha. This is the funniest joke I have ever heard in my life. He was the first to be killed by his own spirit pet." The young girl finally showed some emotion. Her words were full of sarcasm and mockery. "Dao friend, why do you have to take joy in other people's misfortune? You and I are both pitiful people imprisoned in this forbidden ground. Our lives and deaths are up to the heavens. Why can't we work together and return to the boundless God's space?" The old man asked in a deep voice. "If you are willing to work together, our hope will be much greater. When we return, we will take revenge. We have to pay a price for our goals, right?" The old man asked again. Chapter 384. In the Forbidden Land. A single person was facing off against countless undead spirits. Yet, Medusa was pressuring the Forbidden Land to the point that no one dared to refute her. Those who walk different paths cannot work together. I have never joined forces with the human race. The young lady rejected Lin Chenfeng's suggestion without hesitation. "Medusa, why are you so stubborn? You might have been implicated in the incident back then, but it's more likely that they have plotted against you as well. Don't you want to go back and find out the truth?" The old man reprimanded angrily. The conversation between the old man and the young lady revealed many secrets, causing the great emperor to fall silent. Was the mythological era really that powerful? Was the endless universe really just a cage? Or was it just a small plane that became hell on earth because these people from the mythological era came in? "Lin Chenfeng, Don't force me to make a move. Otherwise, I can ignore the living beings in the outside world and flatten your forbidden land. You, on the other hand, will be helpless. The young woman's identity was exposed. She was a true ancient mutated beast, the divine Medusa snake. This kind of creature hated the human race and all living things. It had no emotions and no compassion. It was the first time that she had taken care of Ren Huangyi and helped him out. Lin Chenfeng was an unknown expert. In the ancient mythological era, he was an overlord in the god's realm. However, he remained silent at this moment. He did not want to provoke this ancient mutated beast. Then what do you want? Lin Chenfeng asked indifferently. I don't want anything. I just want to set up a rule. You have to agree whether you want to or not. Otherwise, your million years of planning will be for naught. Medusa replied indifferently. You. Lin Chenfeng was enraged. His will transformed into a golden body in front of Medusa. It looked like a middle-aged man. It was majestic and divine. What about me? Manage your people well. If anyone comes out, you will all die, Medusa said indifferently. Why? You have never been interested in these things. Why are you doing this? Lin Chenfeng questioned. I'm just helping my younger sister with something, Medusa said calmly with her hands behind her back. Haha. Medusa, you are helping your younger sister? You have a younger sister? Lin Chenfeng laughed wildly as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. A human and a little girl. Why? You don't believe me? She's just outside the forbidden area. We'll know with a sweep of our divine sense, Medusa said in a low voice. Lin Chenfeng was silent for a while. He didn't know if he should be happy or sad. Medusa, who was emotionless, had emotions. Perhaps she had a weakness. However, it seemed like this was a bad thing for him because she would interfere in his affairs. I never thought that the emotionless Medusa would actually develop feelings for a little girl. Lin Chenfeng muttered before continuing. I can agree if you want them to stay in the forbidden area forever. However, they can't agree to that. Do you think you and I can stop a riot in the forbidden area? 2,000 years. If anyone dares to show up within 2,000 years, I will flatten the entire forbidden zone. I want to see if the entire universe can provide you with enough life. After saying that, Medusa turned and left. The great emperor watched as the girl left, but there was no movement from the forbidden area. Since the ancient times, there were very few people who could take the life-prolonging elixir from the forbidden land. Human Emperor Si Tan killed 3 great emperors' dead spirits and took 2 of them. Human Emperor Xianyuan took 1. The 9 Dragons Divine Emperor took 1. And the Divine Martial Emperor took 1. Today the girl took 3 in one go. Even the old monsters behind the mountain couldn't stop her from taking them. In the Yin-Yang Starfield, there were no more monarch-level experts. The elites of the insane sect and the endless universe had directly uprooted the Yin-Yang 8. The traitors had been eradicated. The people were excited. What happened today told the world that traitors would always be despised by the human race and despised by all races. The Qilin tiger bloodline hid in some unknown star and didn't dare to show up. Not even a single disciple dared to show up. If they did, they would definitely be exterminated. The most pitiful one was probably the Ghost Emperor. At this moment, Shenong Qingyan was using a chain that radiated divine light to lock his neck like a dog. He had become a captive creature, just like how he kept the undead in captivity back then. This is called the God locking chain. It will change according to my will. It can lock the soul of a great emperor and the body of a mortal. The more you struggle, the tighter it will be. If you have any disrespect towards your master, the God locking chain will instantly lock your soul, making you unable to live. Shenong Qingyan pulled one end of the chain and revealed a harmless smile. Her smile made Dishang, Tianmu, and Xing Luo's hair stand on end. The Ghost Emperor was dejected. He was probably the unluckiest great emperor. He had cultivated for 10,000 years and was about to prove his Tao. Now he was being chained. It was a great humiliation. Come, let me hear you call me master. Shenong Qingyan looked at the Ghost Emperor and grinned. At this moment, she was as pure as a gem. Who would have thought that she would use such a method to deal with the Ghost Emperor? Her ghost intelligence was no less than the parrot. Master. The ghost emperor murmured. His soul was being tortured to the point of insanity. Shenong Qingyan knew how to torture people. She knew that if she tortured the ghost emperor now, the ghost emperor might go crazy. If he went crazy, wouldn't it be a waste of a true antidote? Therefore, she brought the ghost emperor and flew towards the center of the sovereign region. The people of the insane sect and the super experts of the endless universe killed to their heart's content this time. They did not feel guilty at all. All the people of the Yin-Yang 8 tribes who were over 400 years old and participated in the rebellion were all killed. The young Medusa brought Emperor Yi into the void and said indifferently, "Do you have any unfulfilled wishes? If you follow me back this time, you will not be able to come out within 2,000 years. You will not be able to come out until you prove your Tao. So, do what you have to do." Emperor Yi clenched his fists and hugged the divine zither tightly. His body trembled, and his eyes were filled with hatred. The flames in his eyes burned as if he wanted to destroy the mountains and rivers. "Insane sect. I will do it myself," Emperor Yi said indifferently. His divine sense sensed the aura of the insane martial Tao, and he brought the young Medusa to Eastern Wasteland. Di Shang and Tianmu Xinglua were about to return to the sovereign region, when two figures suddenly appeared in front of them. Their hearts almost stopped, especially Tianmu Xinglua, whose face turned pale. "Give Nangong Pawu and Zaikan to me," Emperor Yi said coldly. Emperor Yi Taoist. Tianmu Xinglua was shocked. He glanced at Medusa beside Emperor Yi, and did not dare to look directly at her. "What? Do I need to ask again?" Emperor Yi asked coldly. "Emperor Yi, Nangong Pawu is in Eastern Wasteland, and Zaikan is missing." Tianmu Xinglua smiled bitterly. "Son, this has nothing to do with the insane sect. Furthermore, the insane sect helped the endless universe in the past. Please give me some face. I have also heard about Nangong Pawu, but he recently joined the Golden Crow upper race, so I can't do anything to him," Di Shang said in a low voice. "As for Zaikan, I'll investigate whether or not he participated in Xiao Zhanqing's scheme, and whether or not he was instructed by a remnant sect. You're on your own now." After Ren Huangyi finished speaking, he brought Medusa with him and headed straight for the eastern wilderness. Eastern Wasteland was still in order, but it could not stop Medusa's power. In a flash, the two of them arrived above Eastern Wasteland. Medusa's divine sense swept across Eastern Wasteland and found the godly lotus. The two of them landed in the valley and found that the godly lotus was about to prove its Tao. It was extremely powerful, and Medusa showed no mercy. She reached out to take it. Buzz! A terrifying barrier of divine light surged out from the lake, trying to stop Medusa's attack. "Humph!" Medusa snorted coldly. Her jade-like hand directly pierced into the barrier, and she used most of her strength to tear a hole in it. She brought Emperor Yi into the lake, and stood in front of the godly lotus. "With it, you might be able to prove your Tao in less than 200 years. Medusa stared at the godly lotus, and her eyebrows twitched. She found that there was a layer of 8-colored snake skin on the leaves of the godly lotus. She immediately murmured, "The multicolored snake has actually evolved into an 8-colored snake." The godly lotus swayed, emitting a shocked expression. It shook its leaves with all its might as if it was saying something. Emperor Yi looked at the snakeskin and seemed to think of Yi Qinghan's multicolored snake. He wrapped his divine sense around the godly lotus and used his soul to communicate with it. He found that Yi Qinghan had actually been here before, and this godly lotus had actually helped Yi Qinghan twice. His eyes could not help but soften. "Sister, let it go. I don't need it. I can also prove my Tao," Emperor Yi said softly. "You are too soft-hearted. You decide for yourself." Medusa was cold and did not want to say more. Whoosh! The godly lotus kept swaying, and a whirlpool appeared in the lake. A large number of godly lotus seeds surged out and flew towards Emperor Yi in an orderly manner to express their gratitude. Emperor Yi took the godly lotus seeds and pulled Medusa out of the valley. The godly lotus never would have thought that the person it had inadvertently helped in the past would save its life at this time. If not for the kindness of the past, it would have perished at a critical moment. 100,000 years of cultivation would have been a gift to someone else. Karma and destiny. Perhaps this was the case. Medusa used the information given by the godly lotus to track Yi Qinghan's travels in the past. When he came to the Iron Wolf tribe, she found that it was empty. Even the Golden Crow tribe had been razed to the ground. It seemed to have suffered a great calamity. He lived here for a period of time. Medusa pointed at the ruins of the Iron Wolf tribe and said indifferently, "This tribe believes in the wolf god. Perhaps we can find something from the wolf god tribe." Emperor Yi nodded and followed Medusa all the way to the big city of the eastern wilderness. In the Heavenly Wolf tribe, the violet iron wolf had already grown into a muscular man. With a dagger in his hand, he was running madly through the forest, cultivating close combat. He rolled and leaped, and his heavenly dragon eagle binding hands was cultivated to the pinnacle. It was like a snake coiling around an ancient tree. After a long while, the purple iron wolf put the dagger on his waist and walked towards the Sky Wolf tribe. Whoosh! Hundreds of experts appeared outside the forest. Most of them were in the Immortal Gate realm. There was no lack of experts in the 9th stage of the Immortal Gate realm. They all had a huge sun embroidered on their left shoulders. The people of the eastern wilderness knew that they were from the Golden Crow upper race. Catch him! The Iron Wolf tribe dared to lie to our Golden Crow upper race. How dare they? They have been hiding all these years. It's time for them to pay the price for what they did in the past. A young man roared angrily. Boom! It was not difficult for hundreds of experts to surround someone in the 7th stage of the Immortal Gate realm. Chapter 385. The Golden Crows surrounded the Purple Iron Wolf. The Purple Iron Wolf frowned and felt sad. That young master of his had never returned, and had even taken his sister away. Now he was his only family. If it wasn't for the fact that the Iron Wolf tribe was in dire straits, he would have left the eastern wasteland to look for Yi Qinghan. The Iron Wolf tribe didn't lie to you. Master might have been delayed by something. Can't you see that my sister hasn't returned? Now the Heavenly Wolf tribe has already demoted the Iron Wolf tribe to a side branch. Are you done yet? The Purple Iron Wolf roared angrily. Humph. The Golden Crows will never be deceived. Purple Iron Wolf, you better come back with us and beg for forgiveness. Otherwise, when we capture the Iron Wolf tribe, we'll kill them all. The young man said coldly as he surrounded the Purple Iron Wolf. That's enough. My Iron Wolf tribe has been hunted by you for hundreds of years. I've already said that master must have been delayed. What you're doing now, how are you going to explain it to my master when he returns? The Purple Iron Wolf reprimanded coldly. Would he dare to come back? Don't lie to yourself. What could be delayed for hundreds of years? The Golden Crows retorted disdainfully. Don't waste time with him. Capture him and bring him back. We'll hand him over to the Exalted Ones. That's right. Big brother, the Iron Wolf tribe has already been kicked out of the inner tribe. Besides, would the Heavenly Wolf tribe dare to go against us? The group of Golden Crows shouted one after another. The Purple Iron Wolf pulled out his dagger and gripped it tightly. The Iron Wolf tribe relied on him. Without him, the Iron Wolf tribe would definitely be devoured by a powerful tribe. If it wasn't for the fact that he was invincible among his peers, the Heavenly Wolf tribe wouldn't even acknowledge the existence of the Iron Wolf tribe. They might even take the initiative to kill him. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. It was better to believe in one's own strength. Attack. If you dare to resist, I'll kill you. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. There were more than 100 experts. Even if a portion of the grand revered martial artists were excluded, there were still 50 to 60 experts from the immortal sex. They had come to capture the Purple Iron Wolf. The moment they attacked, the ancient trees were destroyed, the mountain rocks were shattered, saber lights and sword shadows flashed, and flames soared to the sky. The Purple Iron Wolf transformed into a divine snake. It was as fast as lightning as it pounced into the crowd. Its dagger carried with it a destructive aura. Anyone who came into contact with it would definitely die. Puh. Many of the Golden Crows were injured by their own allies, and the Purple Iron Wolf was able to infiltrate the enemy's ranks and kill them all by himself. His dagger kept stabbing into the hearts and throats of his enemies. Humph. All these years, you've gone too far. The Purple Iron Wolf was furious. 100 years after Yi Qinghan left, The Golden Crows felt that they had been deceived. The upper echelons were furious and demanded that the Sky Wolf tribe kick the Iron Wolf tribe out of the tribe. If it wasn't for the fact that the Purple Iron Wolf tribe was extremely powerful and had some value, he would have been sold by the Sky Wolf tribe a long time ago. However, the Iron Wolf tribe had been kicked out of the outer powers and could only rely on hiding to preserve their lives. Back then, the Iron Wolf tribe had developed rapidly in just 100 years. The Iron Wolf tribe had developed into a tribe of 10,000 people. There were even many great martial venerables in the tribe. There were also 2 great martial venerables in the Immortal sect. Unfortunately, they had all died in the end. Now the Iron Wolf tribe only had a little more than 1,000 people left. 90% of them had died. 80% of them had been killed by the Golden Crow upper tribe. The remaining portion had been killed by the Heavenly Wolf tribe. The Purple Iron Wolf's hatred soared to the heavens. Its figure flickered, and it transformed into a heavenly dragon that entangled its opponent. It didn't even need to kill him. His opponent would die at the hands of its people. Sure enough, not long after, the Golden Crow upper tribe began to hesitate and had no choice but to scatter. The Purple Iron Wolf had been trained by Yi Qinghan in individual combat strength. How could it be inferior to others? There was almost no one who could withstand a single blow from it. If they didn't retreat, they would die. Uninvited guests had arrived at the Heavenly Wolf tribe. Emperor Yi was quite polite. After all, this place had some relationship with Yi Qinghan. Emperor Yi and Medusa didn't even notice them when they stepped into the Heavenly Wolf tribe. It wasn't until they entered the main hall of the Heavenly Wolf tribe that a divine martial realm expert noticed them. He couldn't help but be shocked. May I ask who these 2 Dao friends are? Why did you enter without any notice? The divine martial realm expert asked in a deep voice. Emperor Yi looked down at that person. His eyes were filled with a will that couldn't be disobeyed. Tell me, does your Heavenly Wolf tribe have an Iron Wolf tribe? Back then, did someone called Yi Qinghan go to the Iron Wolf tribe? Emperor Yi asked coldly. Iron Wolf tribe? The divine martial realm expert was shocked. These years, the Iron Wolf tribe had caused a lot of trouble. The Golden Crow race had come to negotiate many times, causing the 2 tribes to be at loggerheads. This caused some of the Heavenly Wolf tribe's people to hate the Iron Wolf tribe. Who are you? What is your relationship with that Yi Qinghan? The divine martial realm expert's aura turned cold as he asked indifferently. Pa. Boom. The young Medusa didn't have a good temper. She directly slapped the divine martial realm expert and stomped him to the ground. The divine martial realm expert was stunned. You talk too much nonsense. Now I'll ask you a question and you'll answer. If you dare say another word, I'll crush your head. Medusa's aura was sinister, and the entire Heavenly Wolf tribe became deathly silent. The divine martial realm expert was shocked. He felt as if something was stuck in his throat. He couldn't even breathe, let alone speak. Where is the Iron Wolf tribe? Medusa asked coldly. I don't know. The divine martial realm expert was sweating profusely. Only then did he remember that the Iron Wolf tribe had been on the run recently. They didn't have a fixed residence, and he didn't know their exact location. Kacha. Medusa crushed the divine martial realm expert's head. She really meant what she said. If he said another word, he would really die. The Heavenly Wolf tribe's divine martial realm expert, the clan elder, rushed out and looked coldly at Medusa and Emperor Yi. He asked in a low voice. 2 Dao friends, aren't you going too far? You came to my tribe to kill people. Did you ask for my opinion? Pa. Medusa sent the emperor-level clan elder flying with a single slap. Then she lifted her leg and stomped down on his face. The Grand Emperor-level clan elder didn't even have the strength to resist. At this moment, he only felt a burning pain on his face as his face twitched uncontrollably. I hate it when people question me. Now, I'm asking and you're answering. If you say another word or say you don't know, you'll end up like him. Medusa was too domineering. She was so domineering that it was unbearable, but there was nothing he could do. Where is the Iron Wolf tribe? In the southeast, near a canyon 3,000 miles away. The divine martial realm clan elder didn't dare to say another word and replied in fear. Let's go. Swish. Emperor Yi and Medusa came quickly and left even faster. There was no fluctuation in space as they disappeared. The fire cloud canyon stretched out endlessly. Tall mountains stood tall and steep cliffs could be seen everywhere. There was little life and the roads were rugged and bumpy. It wasn't suitable for human survival at all. Even birds wouldn't want to pass through. However, there were two battlefields here. The Iron Wolf tribe was surrounded by the Golden Crow tribe and was blocked in the depths of the Fire Cloud Canyon. They could only retreat because their opponents were too strong, and there were too many of them. More than 1,000 tribesmen were now lying on the ground. Many people were burned alive. Many children didn't manage to escape the calamity. On the other battlefield, the purple Iron Wolf was bathed in a river of blood. The heavenly dragon Coiling Eagle Hands was used to the extreme and killed more than 50 experts. However, he was also heavily injured and fell backward. Most of the opponents were injured. At this moment, they didn't want to capture him alive. They only wanted to destroy the purple Iron Wolf. Kill. A sword pierced through the clouds and went straight for the purple Iron Wolf's throat. Enemies were everywhere and there was no way to dodge. The purple Iron Wolf was in despair. He closed his eyes and waited for death. When a crisp sound of a zither rang out. The space between heaven and earth was sealed and time stopped. At this moment, it was a god's domain. Without the god's permission, no one could even think of moving. More than 100 Golden Crow tribe experts were stunned. Some even left the ground and stood in the air. Emperor Ye's divine sense covered the entire canyon and saw the Iron Wolf tribe in a life-and-death situation. He begged in a low voice, "Sister, please help them. I'll go save that person. He knows the heavenly dragon Coiling Eagle Hands. He must be related to Master. Maybe we can find something." Medusa sighed and stepped into the depths of the canyon. Emperor Yi descended above the purple Iron Wolf. With a flick of his finger, he killed more than 20 people around him. The sound of the zither rang out again. Everyone was able to move again. However, they looked up at Emperor Yi in confusion. It was as if they were looking at a fairy. They didn't dare to look directly at him. The purple Iron Wolf's lips were dry. He bowed and said, "Thank you, Senior, for saving my life." Emperor Yi didn't say anything else. He grabbed the purple Iron Wolf and used his divine sense to forcibly steal his memories. However, he didn't hurt the purple Iron Wolf. The memories of the past appeared again. He also understood that the Iron Wolf tribe was in a sorry state because of Yi Qinghan's promise. He couldn't help but feel guilty. Boom. Emperor Yi looked at the Golden Crows. He played the zither in the air, and the remaining 90 or so people self-destructed at the same time. Their blood stained the mountain, and they died on the spot. "May I ask who you are?" The purple Iron Wolf was stunned. Normal people wouldn't dare to kill the Golden Crows. "I'm your senior sister, Emperor Yi." Emperor Yi said sadly. "Senior sister." Plop. The purple Iron Wolf was now an unyielding man. However, he knelt down and cried, "Senior sister, where's my master? Where's my sister?" All these years, the Iron Wolf tribe was almost wiped out. "Ooh. Get up. Your sister should still be in the insane sect. However, your master has died in battle. I'm sorry that a promise from back then implicated you. However, I will avenge you and make up for what I owe you. He's dead, so don't hate him," Emperor Yi said in a low voice. "Master is dead? How is that possible? Master is so powerful. How could he die in battle?" The purple Iron Wolf was unwilling. He hated Yi Qinghan all these years and had been looking for excuses for him. However, at this moment, he finally understood the doubts he had all these years. He didn't feel good. He died in battle more than 300 years ago. He died for the sake of the universe. We don't have the right to blame him. If he was alive, he would have fulfilled his promise. Emperor Yi didn't know how to comfort the man in front of her. She whispered softly, "Come with me. I'll take you to take revenge." In the depths of the Grand Canyon, everything was petrified and turned into dust. Medusa walked through the air and saw the Iron Wolf tribe tightly clustered. The middle-aged man was at the front, and the old man was in the middle. The children and women were at the back. They were almost at the cliff. If they took a few more steps back, they would be wiped out. Chapter 386. Medusa was a little emotional, but not much. She had seen too much greed and selfishness, so she was not interested in other races. Follow me. Medusa turned around and walked out of the valley. At this moment, Emperor Yi returned with the purple iron wolf. Seeing that there were only 100 or so of his tribesmen left, he could not help but hate the Golden Crows. Just because a promise was not fulfilled, the Golden Crows are being so aggressive. How dare they? Emperor Ye's aura turned cold and murderous. The people of the Iron Wolf tribe wept softly. The tribe elder walked out and sadly said, "Many thanks to the two seniors for helping us. Actually, the reason why they want to kill us is not only because of that promise. There are other reasons. I am the disciple of that person back then. My master died in battle 300 years ago. That is why he did not come to keep his promise. I will end the karma caused by his promise back then. I will repay what he owes you. Tell me, other than that promise, what other reason does the Golden Crow Upper Tribe have for hunting you down? So you're the disciple of the esteemed one. Greetings. They're chasing after the Iron Wolf tribe, because a guest elder of the Golden Crows came. Although I don't know who he is, he seems to hate the Iron Wolf tribe a lot. He's been chasing after us. If we weren't in the outer area of the Iron Wolf tribe, he might have attacked us himself," said the elder in pain. Guest elder? Emperor Ye's white hair fluttered, and he clenched his fists. The Iron Wolf tribe was so weak, how strong could their enemy be? How could he be a guest elder of the Golden Crows? Since he wasn't an enemy of the Iron Wolf tribe, but he hated the Iron Wolf tribe to the bone, then it was obvious. This person was Yi Qinghan's enemy. In the eastern wilderness, the one who hated Yi Qinghan was Nangong Powu. Is that person called Nangong Powu? Emperor Yi asked coldly. Esteemed one, he is not Nangong Powu. I think he is called Kanwu. The clan elder's eyes were filled with anger and hatred when he mentioned this name. A tribe of 10,000 tribesmen, and only 100 or so were left in the end. They were still chasing after them. They would only be relieved when they were all dead. Gotcha. Emperor Yi was furious. It was indeed Nangong Powu. There was no other person besides him. Junior brother, take me to the Golden Crows. I want to destroy the Golden Crows and that guest elder. Emperor Yi said coldly. Yes. Senior sister, you must avenge our tribe. The purple iron wolf said hatefully. Whoosh. Medusa grabbed one person in each hand, and directly pulled them into the void, traveling 10,000 miles in a single step. The Golden Crow upper race had existed for countless years, and they had always worshipped the Golden Crow as the god of war. In the past few years, they had continuously fought and slaughtered countless races before they finally established a huge rank 8 sacred ground. They had countless experts, and they were even stronger than when they were at the peak of the Dao realm sacred ground. They had 2 martial emperors, no less than 20 boundary emperors, and over 100 false emperors. With these people, they could dominate the eastern wilderness. Even if the Heavenly Wolf tribe had a martial emperor, they could only bow their heads. Nangong Powu had been hiding among the Golden Crows all these years. He didn't dare to go out of the eastern wilderness to gather information. If he knew that Yi Qinghan had become a Dao assimilator, he would have rushed out long ago. But here, he was invincible among his peers and had many secret arts. He was like a fish in water among the Golden Crows. He was even a disciple of Atharch and had a high status. Emperor Yi and the other 2 approached from afar, and appeared in front of the Golden Crows. Elder sister, from now on, shoot down every single bird that flies out of the Golden Crow upper clan. Emperor Yi summoned his divine Guqin, and sat cross-legged on an ancient tree branch. Buzz, the heavens and the earth were quiet. The members of the Golden Crow race walked out of their homes, and looked at Emperor Yi on the treetops and Medusa standing to the side. They could not help but grin. What an elegant little girl. Could it be that she wants to submit to our race and is purposely showing off? If that's the case, the lords in our race are lucky. Ah, our Golden Crows are famous all over the world. It's not surprising that such a beauty would submit to us. The Golden Crows did not know what was good for them and discussed. However, Nangong Powu tensed up and almost went mad. He rushed out in shock and saw Emperor Yi and the 2 strangers beside him. Yi Qinghan was nowhere to be seen. He could not help but let out a sigh of relief. As soon as Nangong Pou came out, Emperor Ye's 10 fingers suddenly moved faster. The solemn and stirring melody was vast and mighty, as if the heaven and earth were about to explode. The thousands of miles of ancient trees swayed crazily, and the wind blew violently. Even the stones seemed to be alive. Everyone was shocked. They found that their qi and blood had gone out of control and were flowing wildly. Their qi seas were surging as if they were about to explode. They wanted to stop it, but the melody made their blood boil and they were unable to stop it. A boom. Thousands of Grand Marshal Venerables and above had self-detonated and died tragically on the spot. Outside the walls of the Golden Crow upper clan were stained with blood and corpses were piled up like mountains. Buzz buzz buzz, hum hum hum, the melody became more and more hurried and solemn, stirring up the emotions of all the heroes. It was as if they had seen the most powerful treasure in the world and wanted to fight for it. They took the initiative to cooperate with Emperor Yi to mobilize their own qi and blood. Everyone's veins were bulging, and in the blink of an eye, they self-destructed. The effects of the explosion became wider and wider. Not only did the person who self-destructed kill himself, he also killed everyone in the vicinity. Nangong Pou was horrified. He felt that his body was about to explode. He immediately summoned his long spear and roared, "Tao of incomplete martial, incomplete divine style." Boom. The spear pierced through the heavens and the earth and headed straight for Emperor Yi. Hum Xiao. Emperor Yi gently plucked a string. A blade of true essence broke through the sky and crashed into the long spear. The impact sent Nangong Pou flying and crashing into the crowd. "This is impossible. How could you become so strong?" Nangong Pou roared in horror. "Nangong Pou, I will bring your head to pay respects to the honorable master and the billions of innocent lives of Shaozhanxing. Prepare to die." Emperor Ye's 10 fingers plucked 9 strings. His true essence poured out in torrents. Boom. The true essence was unstoppable. It directly raised the outer area of the Golden Crow upper clan to the ground. Nangong Pou was horrified. He used all his strength to block Emperor Ye's attack. However, Emperor Ye's strength was like a ferocious ocean, and he was only a small boat. The moment they came into contact, he was hit and sank. His arms were broken and his body exploded. Puff, Nangong Pou's eyes were bloodshot. He crashed into the ground and struggled with all his might. He looked at Emperor Yi with unwillingness. When he thought of Emperor Ye's words, he couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "What did you just say? Pay respects to the honorable master? Yi Qinghan is dead. Ha ha. Yi Qinghan actually died in front of me. Ha ha. Go down and see him." Xiao. A 7-foot-long true essence saber appeared out of thin air. It carried with it the great Tao of destruction and order. It directly chopped down on Nangong Pou's neck, instantly erasing his life. His head flew into the air, completely unharmed. Nangong Pou's eyes were filled with venomous excitement, fear, and despair. He couldn't understand why he hated Yi Qinghan so much. Was it only because he had defeated him in the Tao of Divine Martial? The purple iron wolf leapt up and grabbed Nangong Pou's head. It wanted nothing more than to put this person's head on the ground and stomp on it. "You're courting death." Dozens of figures rushed out from the Golden Crows. They were all quasi-emperors. There were also 2 emperor-level experts. They waved their sky-covering hands. Their emperor's might was vast and mighty, and they directly smashed toward Emperor Yi and Medusa. Boom. The sky collapsed, the earth sank, and countless ancient trees collapsed. Medusa snorted coldly. It was obvious what would happen to a heartless person when faced with a savage beast like her. Whoosh. An even larger hand blotted out the sky. It was as if the entire eastern wilderness had been plunged into darkness. The emperor-level experts found it difficult to move or breathe. Their attacks were instantly shattered, and the other party's hand enveloped the entire Golden Crows. The Golden Crows screamed in horror and despair. "Senior, please stop. We can talk this out." The emperor-level experts immediately begged for mercy. Boom. Unfortunately, Medusas will never change because of others. Even Emperor Yi didn't have time to stop her. After all, there were millions of Golden Crows, and many of them were children. Such a massacre was simply against the will of the heavens. Whoosh. The hand fell, and the golden crows, who had been glorious for hundreds of thousands of years, were reduced to ashes by Medusa's slap. The two emperor-level experts didn't even have time to struggle before they died without warning. Apart from a few weak existences in the periphery, the rest of the golden crows were all dead. The golden crow's territory sank by hundreds of meters, forming a huge crater. It was a pity that there was only blood and no water here. Don't be soft-hearted toward your enemies. Otherwise, you can forget about taking revenge. If you want to take revenge, the entire boundless universe must be buried with you. Medusa said indifferently. Emperor Ye's mouth twitched. He nodded and said to the purple iron wolf, "Go back and bring your people here to live. There should be many treasures that haven't been destroyed. It should be enough for you to develop." "Thank you, senior sister." "Thank you, senior." The purple iron wolf respectfully presented Nangong Powa's head and asked, "Senior sister, can you let my sister come back? Our people really need her now." "And she will be back soon." Emperor Yi nodded and put away the divine guqin. He held Medusa's hand and said gently, "Sister, I want to offer this person's head as a sacrifice to Master, and Xiao Zhanqing to comfort their souls in heaven. If you fulfill this wish, I will immediately reject Sky Sea with you." Medusa nodded and brought Emperor Yi into the sky and left Eastern Wasteland. In the Fire Cloud Grand Canyon, the Iron Wolf tribe's people were walking pathetically when the Sky Wolf tribe's people arrived. There were dozens of experts with flattering expressions, as if they wanted to find out the identity of Emperor Yi and Medusa. The purple Iron Wolf rushed back and looked coldly at the Sky Wolf tribe's people. There was no longer any kinship to speak of. The Sky Wolf tribe's clan elder came out and said with a heavy expression, "Iron Wolf, who were those two girls just now?" "It has nothing to do with you. From today onwards, the Iron Wolf tribe will change its name and no longer belong to the Sky Wolf tribe." The purple Iron Wolf hated the Sky Wolf tribe. A portion of the Iron Wolf tribe's people had died at the hands of the Sky Wolf tribe's direct descendants. "Impudent! How dare you speak to this ancestor like that?" The Emperor-level clan elder coldly reprimanded. "How do you want me to speak to you? You allowed the Sky Wolf tribe's disciples to massacre the Iron Wolf tribe. Do you want me to be grateful?" The purple Iron Wolf roared. "My sister will be back in 2 or 3 months at most. At that time, we will naturally settle the scores of these years." Chapter 387. In the Fire Cloud Gorge, the atmosphere was oppressive. The Emperor-level clan elder's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at the purple Iron Wolf. "You want revenge? You want revenge on the Sky Wolf tribe?" The Sky Wolf tribe clan elder asked coldly. "Yes. None of those who were stained with our blood will escape. Now that the Golden Crow upper clan has been annihilated, my senior sister has avenged us. The rest will be done by my sister and me." The purple Iron Wolf shouted without hesitation. "What? The Golden Crow upper clan is dead? Those 2 women are your senior sisters?" The Emperor-level clan elder trembled. He was completely frightened by Medusa's cultivation. Yes, the purple Iron Wolf was indifferent. Although he didn't know who Medusa was, it didn't matter. What mattered was that Emperor Yi had the strength to kill Emperor-level clan elders. If the clan elder dared to attack them, he would definitely be punished in the future. Ren Huangyi brought Nangong Powa's head back to the Kuang sect. The people of the Kuang sect had just finished dealing with the members of the Yin-Yang 8 tribes, and returned to the sect. They saw Ren Huangyi kneeling in front of Yi Qinghan's tombstone with a head on the side. Who else could it be but Nangong Powu? Who is the purple Iron Wolf's sister? Emperor Yi turned and asked after settling everything. Zifei was now an adult. She had the style of Xia Ziluo. She was valiant, neat, and did things with lightning speed. Everyone in the insane sect liked her. "Senior sister, I am Zifei, the Iron Wolf's sister. May I know why you are looking for me?" Zifei had been cultivating diligently all these years. She had also been taught by Yan Yunbei and Yi Linchen at the same time. Her assassination skills had reached the pinnacle. Her cultivation was not inferior to the elders of the Kuang sect. However, she was very respectful to Ren Huangyi. "Wuxia, Martial Uncle Shi, Martial Uncle Tianchen, take Sister Fei, back to the clan to deal with some matters. It has something to do with Master. Emperor Yi said in a low voice. My clan. Zifeir's complexion changed. She had been cultivating all these years. In addition, Yin Yunbei often took her out to gain experience. So she didn't have time to go back. Now that she thought about it, she realized that she had been away for 300 years. Yes, something has happened in your clan. Go back and deal with it. Don't show any mercy. The insane sect is your backing, Emperor Yi said with a nod. After Emperor Yi finished speaking, he left the imperial region with Medusa. The stars moved as they headed straight for the Xiaolong region. Yi Qinghan had been imprisoned in the ancient purgatory for 300 years, unable to leave. He had spent all his time in the cave comprehending the earth origin mysteries. With the help of the breath loam, he had forcefully comprehended the earth origin mysteries to the large success stage in 300 years. If it wasn't for the fact that his soul realm was still stuck at mid-level divine martial realm, he would have reached the peak of the divine martial realm. Once he reached the monarch realm, he would have attracted the monarch tribulation and become an existence that proved his Tao. The reason why emperors were unable to corroborate their Tao was because they had not comprehended a single great Tao of origin to the great perfection realm. Therefore, he could not attract the great emperor tribulation. This was the fundamental difference between emperors and great emperors. Cultivation knew no time. Yi Qinghan slowly stood up. He found that the multicolored snake was coiling around an 8th-tier divine medicine. It was almost transforming into a 9th-tier divine medicine. However, the multicolored snake had swallowed all the essence of the 8th-tier divine medicine, causing it to be unable to transform. The multicolored snake's body began to gather the 9th color. Once the gathering was complete, it would evolve into a 9th-tier emperor. The god-slaying eagle had swallowed 3 8th-tier divine medicines, and had been in a coma for 100 years. The divine bird was so angry that it cried out loudly. The parrot had long left the cave. It brought Qi Bingfei all over the place all day long and forcefully nurtured her into a top-tier expert. No one knew how much pain Qi Bingfei had gone through these years. However, no one dared to go against the will of the divine bird. If the divine bird told her to go east, she would not dare to go west. Sometimes, even though she knew there was danger, she would still go in. She had escaped death a few times. However, the speed of her improvement also shocked the people in the immemorial purgatory. Currently, there were only 3 great experts in the younger generation of the immemorial purgatory: Xian Qingxi, Qin Wanqin, and Qi Bingfei. The first 2 were nurtured by the 2 powerful alliance masters. The forces behind them provided them with large amounts of divine medicines. Meanwhile, Qi Bingfei was nurtured solely by the parrot. She could definitely stand shoulder to shoulder with them. If they used despicable methods, Xian Qingxi and Qin Wanqin could only retreat. Let's go. I'll bring you to challenge the 2 great experts today. Defeat them and you can graduate. The divine bird was not afraid of things getting out of hand and hooted. Fight again? Didn't we just fight last month? Qi Bingfei frowned and asked. Did you win against them last month? The parrot asked disdainfully. But I didn't lose. Qi Bingfei said helplessly. I want to win, not lose. My master is outstanding and elegant. He has never had an opponent within the same realm. He will never be complacent just because he didn't lose. The parrot curled its lips and mocked. He's a pervert. Qi Bingfei rolled her eyes and said. Suddenly, the divine bird looked towards the Fire Dragon Valley and said happily, the pervert you spoke of has woken up. I'll go take a look. Perhaps he can leave this place. Whoosh! The parrot cut through time and space and scuttled into the Fire Dragon Valley. It looked at the current Yi Qinghan. His aura was deep and vigorous. With a gentle breeze, rich earth elements assaulted its nostrils. Yi Qinghan stepped against the wind. His will caused heaven and earth to hang upside down. Yin and yang reversed. With a wave of his hand, the entire mountain range changed. Mountain rocks became soil. With a flick of his finger, he could cause a mountain range hundreds of miles away to collapse. When a law's origin was cultivated to the large success realm, the order could be changed at will. The parrot was dumbfounded. It didn't expect Yi Qinghan to grow to this extent after 300 years of seclusion. Although his realm didn't rise much, His combat power had risen by several levels. Master is mighty. The parrot flew to Yi Qinghan's shoulder and flattered. How long have I been in seclusion? Yi Qinghan hadn't spoken for a long time. His voice was a little hoarse. More than 300 years. Master, can you feel the outside world? Can we leave? This divine bird has had enough of this broken place. The parrot said helplessly. More than 300 years? Yi Qinghan clenched his fists. His knuckles were pale. He couldn't imagine what the Kuang sect would become, because of his disappearance for more than 300 years. If Ren Huangyi knew that he was dead, would he go crazy? Yi Qinghan spread out his divine sense, and found that when his divine sense reached out of Cold Water Planet, the outside world was a void. His divine sense couldn't reach out half a step. Do I really have to prove my Tao before I can leave? Yi Qinghan was a little unwilling. He asked in a hoarse voice, have you found anything special in these years? Have you been to the depths of the ancient purgatory? The parrot said, I have, but I didn't find the edge. The deeper you go, the more dangerous it is. That little girl Bingfei can't last until the end. Yi Qinghan didn't hesitate to take the parrot out of Fire Dragon Valley. He traveled 1,000 miles with each step. Wherever he went, the earth would rise and fall. He could turn it into a sword to pierce through the void. He could also turn it into a spear to kill all enemies. Boom! Yi Qinghan entered the purgatory and went deeper and deeper. The battlefield outside the central region was forcefully flattened by him. In the depths, there were floating mountains. They were actually rootless duckweeds hanging in the air. The eerie aura seemed to lead to hell. Occasionally, a black hole would appear without any warning, swallowing the entire mountain range. The mountain range was directly torn apart by the spatial storm. This kind of scene could be seen everywhere. Danger was everywhere. However, there were many ancient medicines on each mountain. There were also many that were grade 8 and above. Although there weren't many top-grade ones, there would be one every few mountains. Yi Qinghan used his divine sense to explore the depths. He found that not only was it dangerous, it was also boundlessly deep. The deeper he went, the higher the frequency of black holes appearing. Yi Qinghan donned his armor and held his saber. He stepped into the depths. When he encountered ancient medicines that were grade 8 and above, he reached out his hand and forcefully grabbed them. One man and one bird quickly rushed into the depths. Boom! The black hole traversed the void and suddenly appeared in front of Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and quietly left. The black hole missed, but there was no danger. In this kind of environment, those who could take a few steps forward were experts among experts. The Xianyuan army and the Demon Emperor didn't dare to take the risk. However, Yi Qinghan continued to go deeper. He wanted to find out what was in the depths. Perhaps there was a way to leave. After traveling for 1,000 miles, he encountered dozens of black holes. He obtained hundreds of grade 8 ancient medicines, and a few top-grade ones. However, it was getting more and more dangerous. Yi Qinghan's divine sense was tense. He didn't dare to be careless. Master, let's go back. We'll try again when we reach the peak of divine martial realm. It won't be easy to control if we go any deeper. The parrot was vigilant. The black holes were everywhere. It knew that if they went any deeper, they might be swallowed. Yi Qinghan stood on top of a mountain. His robes fluttered as he stared at the faintly discernible depths. He found that the black holes had begun to swallow each other and intertwine. There was no way out. It was like a dead end. His heart couldn't help but sink. Owl Dragon Region, Owl War Star. Several hundred years had passed, but it was still lifeless. The sky was dark and the earth was dark. The eerie bones had turned black and were beginning to rot. They emitted a foul smell. The undead spirits that were unwilling to leave gathered and swallowed each other. They became stronger and stronger. Huff, 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 gloomy cold wind whistled. Yellow sand filled the sky. Owl War Star was like hell. This place was desolate and uninhabited. Since the destruction of Owl War Star, only a few people had come here. It seemed like everyone who came here was shrouded in misfortune. Fengsha had come here before. His cultivation was top-notch, but in the end he died. Yi Qinghan had come here before. Now to the outside world he had also died in battle. Emperor Yi and Medusa arrived in the sky. Emperor Yi flew down alone with Nangong Powa's head in his hand. He stepped onto Owl War Star. Boom. As soon as Emperor Yi stepped onto Owl War Star, he was immediately surrounded by a deathly aura. The black streams of air around him could be seen clearly with the naked eye. Emperor Yi didn't harm them. Emperor Yi, the only descendant of the Yi family, has killed the mastermind of the calamity of Owl War Star. I'm here to comfort the souls of our ancestors. I hope that the 10 billion creatures of Owl War Star can rest in peace and go to the place of reincarnation. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Emperor Yi's voice was deep and mighty. It enveloped the entire Owl War Star. Roar. Owl War Star suddenly changed color. The airflow was distorted. A sharp ear-piercing sound tore through the void. It was as if countless resentful spirits were wreaking havoc. Yellow sand covered the sky and earth. It had been several hundred years. Countless creatures of Owl War Star were finally comforted. Emperor Yi waved his hand. Nangong Powa's head flew into the sky. Chapter 388. On Owl War Star, the Black Death aura lingered in the air and turned into a giant skull. It wrapped around Nangong Powa's head and started to gnaw on it. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was ear-piercing and made people's hair stand on end. The skull grew bigger and bigger. In the blink of an eye, Nangong Powa's head was completely devoured. Not even a trace of bone was left. Emperor Yi bowed deeply 3 times and sighed. This was all he could do. Whether the death aura could be released or not, it was up to the heavens. Emperor Yi flew out of Owl War Star. The head of death aura jumped out and pounced on Emperor Yi, trying to devour him. The death aura on Owl War Star was completely out of control. It did not distinguish between right and wrong, nor did it distinguish between kindness and hatred. Roar! The head of death aura pounced on Emperor Yi's back. Emperor Yi frowned and summoned his divine zither. He moved his fingers and a strand of zither music was played. It turned into a gentle wind and wrapped around the death aura, trying to suppress it on Owl War Star. However, the death aura became even more ferocious after being resisted. It kept roaring and baring its fangs. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ren Huangyi really could not bear to destroy them. After all, this deathly aura was formed by the convergence of countless sentient thoughts of the living beings on Owl War Planet. He summoned the god-slaying eagle and sat cross-legged on its back. He gently stroked the guqin and played a requiem. The sound of nature lingered in the air and circled around Owl War Star, comforting the death aura. The head of death aura struggled, not wanting to be comforted. However, the zither music became softer and softer. It was like a mother comforting a baby or the heavenly Tao comforting the common people. All the negative emotions were dissipating. Hum, hum, hum. Emperor Yi's divine sense enveloped the entire Owl War Star. His soul spirit was highly concentrated. He wanted to release all the negative emotions on Owl War Star in one go. Emperor Yi displayed his kindness in the face of these obsessions with the aura of death. This caused Medusa to quieten down. She did not make a move to shatter the broken Owl War Star. Gradually, the skull of death aura started to fall and dissipate. It turned into dust. The eerie aura was also dispersing. The dark clouds above Owl War Star dispersed, and the sunlight shone on the earth. The eerie bone ash turned into a handful of yellow soil and merged with Owl War Star. Sunlight reappeared in the world. Medusa's palms reached out toward Owl War Star, and she actually merged the shattered pieces of Owl War Star together. The deep ravine disappeared, and the sea of blood began to purify. A strand of light element evolved into a myriad of things, purifying all the filth and evil energy. The sky was blue, and the black sea had turned dark blue, as if it was a newborn star. Whoosh! Medusa put an immemorial divine herb into Owl War Star. Instantly, Owl War Star glowed with divine light with immense vitality. The withered mountain range scattered, and the soil was reborn. Medusa swung her jade-like hand, and threw the seeds of the herbs she had collected from the other stars of Owl Dragon Star into Owl War Star. Owl War Star suddenly changed, from a dead planet filled with dead chi to a cultivation holy land rich in spiritual chi. The divine medicine swayed its branches and leaves, driving the growth of other medicinal herbs and weeds. The spiritual energy was increasing. Emperor Ye's face blossomed with a smile. He waved his jade-like hand and put dozens of divine lotus seeds into dozens of lakes, allowing them to grow. Time flew, and in a few dozen years, this place would become a real cultivation holy land. Medusa laid down the divine formation, and it could be said that she was a good person to the end. Owl Warstar looked like a perfect life planet from afar, but it could only be seen from afar and not entered. There was a huge spiritual chi gathering formation built on the planet, absorbing the spiritual chi of the universe and accelerating the growth of life. Perhaps it wouldn't be long before this planet gave birth to new life forms. Thank you, sister. Emperor Yi said gratefully. No need, this is what I want to do. If I don't want to do it, you can't force me, Medusa said indifferently. Emperor Yi smiled. Now that Xiao Zhanxing was in his current state, if he could really evolve into a human, he might have the shadow of the Yi clan from back then. Although the bloodline was different, the foundation was the same. Perhaps this was a psychological comfort. Emperor Yi held Medusa's hand. The two of them didn't tear through the void. Instead, they stepped into the distance. The peerless celestial figure gradually dissipated, causing countless powerhouses to palpitate. Yi Qinghan didn't know what was happening outside, just like how others didn't know that he was alive. At this moment, he was very anxious and couldn't wait to leave this damned place. Celestial Alliance, Flying Clouds Villa. Yi Qinghan arrived with the parrot. Xianyuan Jun was shocked. After a few hundred years, he was already a monarch. Although it wasn't very stable, his cultivation was far greater than before. However, he didn't notice how Yi Qinghan appeared. Fellow Yi, you've finally come out of seclusion. Quickly, come and sit in the main hall. Xianyuan Jun didn't dare to be negligent and quickly waved his hand. Yi Qinghan nodded and walked towards the main hall of the Celestial Alliance. The main hall was brightly lit with golden light. A dragon-shaped iron pillar rose from the ground. It was lifelike and incomparably majestic. The dragon throne was like a large bed. It was actually made of ice gold and jade. It could calm one's heart and allow one to quickly enter a state of cultivation. It was a rare treasure. The hall was full of spiritual energy. 2 stalks of 8th-grade ancient medicine were placed on either side of the dragon throne. They swayed gently and emitted light. The medicinal fragrance that assailed the nose made one's blood boil. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up. He looked at Xianyuan Jun indifferently. From this arrangement, one could tell that he was a person who liked to enjoy life. Fellow Xianyuan, help me gather all the creatures above the immortal realm. Regardless of whether they are humans or demons, I need them all. I need their information. Yi Qinghan spoke very calmly, but there was no room for refusal. The Xianyuan Jun was shocked. If he gathered so many strong cultivators, wouldn't the Flying Clouds Villa be full? However, looking at Yi Qinghan's expression, this matter had to be done. He was used to Yi Qinghan speaking with his own will. However, when the strong broke the rules, the weak could only follow them. Although he was in the Emperor realm, in front of Yi Qinghan he was still weak. Fellow Taoist, please wait a moment. I will get them all to the Flying Clouds Villa as soon as possible. The Xianyuan Jun bowed and retreated. After a while, a weak little girl rushed in from outside. It was Qin Wanxin. A few hundred years had passed, but she still hadn't changed. Perhaps it was because she had entered the immortal realm too early. Her physical body had already been formed and wouldn't be changed anymore. Qin Wanxin stared at Yi Qinghan. Her eyes were full of fighting spirit. Big brother, I want to challenge you, Qin Wanxin said seriously. Pfft. The parrot laughed. It was obviously mocking her. Qin Wanxin's eyes widened. She wanted to punch it and send it flying. Little brat, you can't even win against the disciple I trained, and you want to challenge my master? The parrot mocked. Qin Wanxin was angry. She pointed at the parrot and scolded. Who said I can't win? When have I ever lost? But when have you ever won? The parrot raised its eyebrows and provoked her. That's because you cheated. You use despicable moves every time. You're really bad. If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. Qin Wanxin was so angry that she forgot her purpose of coming here was to ask for guidance from Yi Qinghan. Her attention was attracted by the divine bird. TSK, this divine bird is a gentleman. I always use my mouth and not my fists. I win without anyone noticing. This is called the demeanor of an almighty. Little brat, you don't understand. Go away. The parrot's skin was extremely thick. It was impossible for it to fight with someone, especially against a strong person. It could always find all kinds of excuses to avoid the fight. Beating up a drowning dog was its specialty. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. It seemed that this thing had wasted hundreds of years. It had not improved at all. It did not even dare to accept the challenge of a little girl. Qin Nuan was flustered and exasperated. In terms of eloquence, even 10 of her would not be a match for the parrot. She could not help but turn her head to look at Yi Qinghan. She looked so pitiful, but it was actually so funny. Yi Qinghan came to the dragon throne and slowly sat down. He looked down at the little girl, as if he could see Yi Mengxi's appearance. He could not help but smile. You clearly know that you are not my match. Why did you challenge me? Yi Qinghan asked indifferently. Who said that I am not your match? Whether or not I can defeat you, we will only know after we fight. Qin Nuan replied seriously. Stupid. Yi Qinghan gave the most pertinent evaluation. The corner of Qin Nuan's mouth twitched. She naturally knew that she was not Yi Qinghan's match. She just wanted to see how big the gap was. It was just that her mind was too young, and did not understand the true psychological warfare. Yi Qinghan had lived on the edge of death since he was young. How could she compete with him? You will improve the fastest when you fight with someone of equal strength. Fighting with me will not do you any good, only harm. Go down. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. You and the bad bird are the same. You are not a good person. Qin Nuan stomped her foot, and said with a delicate snort. This divine bird is only a good bird. Naturally, I am not a good person. Little girl, call me a good teacher. Maybe I will teach you. The parrot proudly jumped up and down on the dragon throne, and said proudly with its head raised. In your dreams. This lady does not care for your teachings. None of my moves are decent. They are all despicable moves. Qin Nuan sneered disdainfully. TSK, what do you know? No matter if it is a good move or a bad move, it is a strong move that can defeat the opponent. The parrot was bored. It lay down on the dragon throne and stared at the 8th grade ancient medicine. Its eyes were shining. At this moment, the first batch of human experts arrived at the Flying Clouds Villa. Qi Bingfei's teacher led a group of people from the Butterfly Valley to the Butterfly Valley. They were all beautiful women, dazzling the eyes. Qi Bingfei looked at Yi Qinghan excitedly. Her fingertips trembled, but she did not know what to say. Qi Bingfei's teacher was a powerful quasi-emperor. She looked like a young woman in her 30s. At this moment, she was also looking at Yi Qinghan in astonishment. This person who was respected to the extreme by her disciple, and even surpassed her teacher, was actually so young. His temperament was even more captivating. I am Yadai, Bingfei's teacher. Greetings, fellow Taoist. Qi Bingfei's teacher bowed slightly. She was filled with the mature charm of a young woman. Her voluptuous figure was enough to make most male cultivators fall head over heels. Her voice was also somewhat charming. In terms of charm, Qi Bingfei was slightly inferior. Yi Qinghan nodded slightly. He stood up and returned the greeting. Yi Qinghan greets fellow Taoist. Fellow Taoist, please take a seat. There is no need to be polite. When everyone is here, I would like to ask about some information regarding the immemorial purgatory. I hope everyone can support me. If I can leave, I will definitely take away those who wish to leave. Chapter 389. Most of the Butterfly Valley disciples were waiting at the training field. Only a few of them followed Yadai to the main hall. Skyhowl Moon smiled as he stepped into the main hall. He looked at Yi Qinghan and cupped his fists. I've long heard of your name. The last time I saw you, you went into seclusion. I've wanted to visit you all these years, but I never had the chance. Today, I see that your cultivation has improved. You'll definitely be the best candidate to prove your Tao in the future. Congratulations. Yi Qinghan smiled and nodded. He said confidently, You're welcome. I hope you'll be kind. Please take a seat. After some small talk, hundreds of thousands of experts above the Grand Marshal Venerable level gathered. They were all humans. The heavenly demon tribe did not come. However, Xianyuanjun had not returned yet. The Heavenly Demon Alliance's Demon King frowned as he looked at Xianyuanjun. My friend, are you kidding? Do you know how many heavenly demons are above the Grand Marshal Venerable level? The Demon King asked. This is Mr. Ye's request. You know his temper. He's a man of his word. He won't allow anyone to reject him. Moreover, he's been in seclusion for so long. I admit that I'm no match for him. I don't think you're his match either. Since you can't resist, why don't you do him a favor? Xianyuanjun smiled bitterly. You're an emperor-level expert. Don't you have the confidence to deal with someone at the peak of the middle level of the God Martial realm? The Demon King frowned. He found it unbelievable. Don't forget about the reincarnation mirror. It shouldn't be difficult for him to destroy the Heavenly Human Alliance and the Heavenly Demon Alliance. Moreover, he has the 4 divine beasts. 300 years have passed. Who knows how powerful those divine beasts have become? Xianyuanjun replied. You mean to say that I have to comply with his request? The Demon King frowned. He was an emperor-level expert. He was used to being a high and mighty demon king. How could he listen to someone else's orders so easily? Xianyuanjun shrugged and shook his head with a bitter smile. Think about it. The human race is almost there. A person like him has a high chance of proving his Tao in the future. Why don't you do him a favor? If you offend him now, let's not talk about settling the score later. If he comes looking for you now, do you think you can win? After a moment of silence, the Demon Emperor nodded. He no longer hesitated and ordered all the demon clans to rush to the Celestial Being Alliance. Countless heavenly demons had never seen such a big scene, causing the people of the Cold Water Planet to panic. They thought that the Heavenly Demon League was going to fight the Heavenly Human League. The Flying Clouds Villa was packed with people. They were all martial honorables and above. Those below the 5th level of the Immortal Gate were all on the periphery, while those inside were experts above the 5th level of the Immortal Gate. Such a gathering of forces was definitely not inferior to a few Dao Realm holy grounds working together. For the sake of convenience, Yi Qinghan directly flattened the mountain range surrounding the Flying Afterglow Villa to allow more people to gather. An hour later, the Demon Emperor arrived with the Heavenly Monster Tribe. His face was full of smiles as he cupped his fists and bowed. His previous reluctance was nowhere to be found. Yi Qinghan was anxious to return and did not have time to waste here. He said, Fellow Taoists, have you heard of the immemorial purgatory? Many people were at a loss. They had never heard of the immemorial purgatory, but how could the Demon Emperor and Xianyuan army not know? Fellow Taoist Yi, this is the immemorial purgatory. It is a prison that can only be entered but not exited. I believe you already know about it. Xianyuan army said in a muffled voice. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect that the place where their ancestors had lived for generations was actually a prison. That's right. This is a prison. A prison that can only be entered but not exited. Fellow Taoists, you have lived here for so many years. Have you never doubted that this world is too small? Why can't you leave the Cold Water Planet? Yi Qinghan looked down at everyone and asked in a deep voice. Everyone was enlightened. They frowned and started discussing. This time, I have gathered everyone here to discuss how to get out of this place. This prison may look like a flawless prison, but I can tell you with certainty that there is a way out. It's just that no one has discovered it yet. Or perhaps you have discovered it but did not care. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan looked at everyone and said in a serious tone, I hope that everyone can tell me about all the strange terrains and strange spaces that you have encountered in the past few years. I will eliminate all of them. I hope that I can lead everyone out of this prison. The outside world is vast. In here, you will never be able to prove your Tao and become a true great emperor. This is because this place blocks the heavenly secrets. It is impossible to form a great emperor's tribulation. Soon, everyone started discussing and talking about their experiences in the past few years. Most of them were talking about the demonic spirit battlefield. The demonic spirit battlefield was also known as the immemorial purgatory. Yi Qinghan had already entered the depths. At least in the outer and central regions, there was no way out of this prison. Yi Qinghan was just giving a Hail Mary treatment. He did not have high hopes for them. He then turned his attention to Xianyuan Jun, Demon Emperor and Skyhowl Moon, hoping that they could provide some useful information. My three friends, have you not thought of leaving this prison all these years? Have you not collected any information? Yi Qinghan asked faintly. Xianyuan Jun smiled bitterly. The ancestors of the immemorial purgatory had always wanted to return to the endless universe. It was passed down from generation to generation. There was only one last wish, which was to leave the immemorial purgatory and return to the endless universe to make up for the mistakes of the past. We have been looking for a way out all these years. However, not only did we not find the direction, we even attracted the immemorial devil, which almost caused the entire immemorial purgatory to be annihilated. Every time, both sides would suffer great losses before he was unwilling to leave. Xianyuan Jun said helplessly. Immemorial devil? What is that? Where is he now? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. He is half human and half demon. He feeds on the flesh and blood of humans. As for where he is, no one knows. Every time he appears, he leaves without a sound. The Demon Emperor pondered for a moment. According to the words of the previous Demon Emperor, the last time a primordial demon appeared was 5,000 years ago. It had a terrifying battle with his master. Back then, the Emperor-level powerhouse had been torn apart by it. Master, I seem to have an impression. This immemorial devil might be the key to leaving the immemorial purgatory. The parrot sea of consciousness flashed. However, it was unable to grasp the key, causing it to go crazy. Yi Qinghan's fingertips twitched as he asked curiously, how many years does this immemorial devil appear? When was the last time he appeared? It's not fixed. According to the records, tens of thousands of years ago, he appeared 3 times in the last 2,000 years. However, in the last 10,000 years, he has only appeared twice. The last time he appeared was 5,000 years ago. Demon Emperor replied. Yi Qinghan frowned. He couldn't wait for the immemorial devil to appear. He had to find him first. There were no immemorial devils in the immemorial purgatory. This meant that the immemorial devil wasn't in this space, but in another world. As long as they could leave the immemorial purgatory, they could slowly find their way back. Where does the immemorial devil appear every time? Where does he disappear? Take me to see. Yi Qinghan was a daring expert. He didn't care about this immemorial devil at all. Fellow Taoist Yi, what are you planning to do? Demon Emperor asked in shock. I want to draw out the immemorial devil. Yi Qinghan said without hesitation. No. Are you crazy? Demon Emperor and the other 2 powerhouses angrily shouted, wanting to stop Yi Qinghan's crazy actions. Yi Qinghan was flabbergasted. These 3 people's reactions were a little too intense. Fellow Taoist Yi, you don't understand the immemorial devil. This thing is too terrifying. According to the records, this kind of creature was created by a powerful race in the immemorial era, using the powerful bloodlines of various races. However, in the end, it went out of control and led to the destruction of the entire race. The strongest expert of that race was comparable to a great emperor. He exhausted all his strength to seal the immemorial devil on the ancestral star. After so many years, no one knows how many immemorial devils there are. If you provoke one, you can cripple the immemorial purgatory. If you provoke 2, we will all die here. That's right, Taoist Yi. The immemorial demon's physical body is extremely strong, just like an imperial weapon. Even with our quasi-emperor weapons, we can't do anything to it. Back then, our quasi-emperor weapons were getting fewer and fewer, and we don't have a powerful fire source. Once our quasi-emperor weapons run out and the immemorial demon appears again, we can only wait for death. Xianyuan Jun advised earnestly, afraid that Yi Qinghan would go crazy and lure the immemorial demon out. Yi Qinghan smiled confidently and said faintly, everyone don't worry. As long as it's not a great emperor, I'm confident that I can injure it and make it take me to that Death Star. The 3 powerhouses rolled their eyes. Even a great emperor expert would take a detour if they saw such a creature, but Yi Qinghan wanted to provoke it. Fellow Taoist, have you heard of the celestial wizard race? Howling Moon asked. Celestial wizard race? Are you talking about the celestial wizard race that dominated the wilderness during the end of the immemorial era? Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and asked seriously. Yes. The celestial wizard race dominated the wilderness during the end of the immemorial era. Even the end of the immemorial era did not affect their continuation. In fact, they became even stronger. The primordial ominous demon was a monster created by the wizard race during their peak using witchcraft. It has the ability to reproduce. The primordial ominous demon was created by the wizard race, but the wizard race was destroyed because of the primordial ominous demon. Fellow Taoist, the dignified celestial wizard race that dominated more than half of the endless universe disappeared overnight. You should think twice before provoking the primordial ominous demon, Howling Moon said seriously. It actually has the ability to reproduce, and its body is comparable to the weakest Great Emperor weapon. It's really a terrifying creature. After so many years, how many primordial ominous demons are there on the celestial wizard race's ancestral star? Why haven't they appeared in the endless universe? Yi Qinghan secretly thought. At this moment, he wanted to enter the celestial wizard race's territory more and more. He wanted to see what the primordial ominous demon was. No matter how strong the primordial ominous demon was, it was still a filthy creature. Filthy creatures were most afraid of fire, especially top-grade flames. Yi Qinghan had a mid-grade 8th grade fire origin, so he didn't care too much about the primordial ominous demon. No matter how strong the body of this creature was, could it withstand the reincarnation mirror's attack? Boom! Just as Yi Qinghan was pondering, a terrifying aura appeared on the demon spirit battlefield. A punch pierced through the void and smashed a young man hundreds of miles away. His flesh and blood almost collapsed and his life force dissipated. Puff! Xian Qingxi spat out a mouthful of blood essence and fled in a sorry state. He didn't dare to fight against the thing in the depths and quickly entered the human race's territory. Chapter 390. Xian Qingxi, a top-notch existence known as the #1 expert of the younger generation, actually didn't dare to fight and began to flee from thousands of miles away. Otherwise, he would have already died in the immemorial purgatory. Cough cough. Xian Qingxi kept coughing out blood as he flew towards the Sky Demon Alliance. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched as a gigantic hand materialized, grabbing it and dragging it into the soaring Afterglow Villa. Xian Qingxi was shocked, but when he saw that all the experts of the Coldwater Star were here, he immediately shouted, "Master, the immemorial demon has appeared again." What? The Demon Emperor was shocked. Indeed, whatever he was afraid of had happened. The immemorial demon that hadn't appeared for 5,000 years had appeared after a few chants. There are two of them. If I didn't escape fast enough, I would have lost my life in the demon spirit battlefield. Xian Qingxi said as he coughed out blood. What? Two immemorial demons? Are you sure? The Xianyuan army was shocked. One was enough to destroy half of the immemorial purgatory's foundation. If there were two of them, even if Yi Qinghan made a move, the immemorial purgatory would be finished. Definitely not. The demon is 8 feet tall and his head is like a small mountain. He was able to injure me from thousands of miles away. Xian Qingxi said in fear. Boom. The soaring Afterglow Manor was in chaos. Many people began to flee, and some even fainted from the fright. Everyone calm down. Where can you escape to? If we don't fight to the death, we will all die. The Demon Emperor roared. All experts of the human race, listen up. The Boundary Emperor will be in the front and the Divine Marshal will be in the middle. I will lead the team. Follow me to the periphery of the demon spirit battlefield and block the immemorial demon outside the Coldwater Star. Sky Demon Alliance, listen up. As Sky Demons, we will form the same formation as the humans. No experts are allowed to flee. Those who disturb the morale of the army will be killed without mercy. The two alliance masters shouted at the panicking crowd. Taoist Yi. The Xianyuan army, Demon Emperor, and Skyhowl Moon looked at him with anticipation, hoping that he would make a move. They didn't expect him to kill an immemorial demon, but they wanted him to at least intercept one. Yi Qinghan donned his armor and raised his saber. His berserk aura spread far away, calling the god-slaying eagle and the rainbow snake back. Screech. Hum. A snake and an eagle, as fast as lightning, appeared outside of the Flying Clouds mountain villa, and immediately swooped down. Come with me. Let's see just what this primordial demon is. Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently. It was truly a case of wearing out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by sheer luck. Yi Qinghan stepped onto the back of the god-slaying eagle, and the colorful snake coiled around his waist. He took the lead and charged directly into the demon spirit battlefield. At the intersection between the periphery and the center, there were two powerful creatures that could no longer be considered humans. They were similar to what Xianqing had described. They were about 8 feet tall, had lantern-like eyes, and their heads were like small hills. Their bodies were covered with copper skin and iron arms. They were like lumps of iron, bumpy, and looked like dead stars that had been hit by meteorites. However, it seemed that this primordial ominous demon did not know how to fly. Its speed was very slow, but its attack power was superb. It was able to injure Xianqing from thousands of miles away. Roar. When the ominous devil saw Yi Qinghan, he bared his teeth and punched the god-slaying eagle with his iron fists. The stable space continued to collapse, and the ground began to rise and fall. Boom. The violent fist wind caused Yi Qinghan's clothes to flutter. The god-slaying eagle kept patting the sky, trying to stabilize its body. However, in the face of the opponent's fist wind, it was like a lone boat in a storm. Brother Yi, dodge. Don't take it head-on. The three experts who were charging over were shocked and roared. Yi Qinghan looked down at the ominous devil from above. His eyes shot out a ray of intent. His left hand touched the void, and the demon spirit battlefield was divided into two. The ground rose up, and a huge wall was built, blocking the front. Boom. The two ominous devils worked together and punched the huge wall that connected the heaven and earth. The heaven and earth shook, alerting the experts of the cold water star who were thousands of miles away. Whoosh! The huge wall formed by the earth origin collapsed. The ominous devil was unstoppable as it charged towards Yi Qinghan. Go! Yi Qinghan did not panic. He naturally knew that the wall could not stop the opponent. He activated the second move, displaying the earth origin profound to the extreme. The mountain rocks within thousands of miles turned into soil, and the soil turned into thousands of sky-splitting divine arrows. They tore through the space and time, and were as fast as lightning. That the divine arrows were extremely fast, and the ominous devil had nowhere to hide. However, the ominous devil had no intention of dodging at all. He clenched his fists and roared towards the sky. His body emitted heavenly dipper golden light, as he wanted to take the arrows head-on. Boom, boom, boom. The rain of arrows blasted the two ominous devils' bodies, forcing them to retreat. The ground was crushed, and their skin was broken. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. However, to the ominous devil, it was only a superficial wound at most. Instead, it had angered him even more. Roar. The immemorial ominous devil roared and glared at Yi Qinghan. It bared its fangs and looked extremely brutal. Brother Yi is indeed strong. If we work together, we might have a chance to defeat them. The Xianyuan army was shocked. They didn't expect Yi Qinghan to injure the ominous devil with just one eye's intent. They were immediately overjoyed. No need. You guys don't need to do anything. I will use them to practice. Yi Qinghan withdrew berserk and recalled the god-slaying eagle back into his body. Instead of retreating, he advanced with the multicolored snake. He formed seals with his palms and mobilized the earth element from all directions, turning it into berserk heaven punishing style. Yi Qinghan roared and mobilized all of his mental power, controlling the berserk to sweep over. Whoosh! The ground was swept up, and the chi rushed into the depths of the immemorial purgatory. Roar! The immemorial ominous devil worked together to attack the berserk. It was as if they didn't know any secret techniques, and only knew how to use their physical bodies. Yi Qinghan stomped on the ground and borrowed the power of the earth to pull up mountains. His black hair fluttered in the air, shaking the three experts until their faces turned pale. Boom! The berserk smashed into the immemorial ominous devil's fist. The shockwaves shattered the heavens, and the recoil sent the ominous devil and Yi Qinghan flying back 1,000 meters. Thud, thud, thud. Step by step, the ground collapsed. Yi Qinghan fell back into the crowd behind him before the impact dissipated. At this moment, the bones in his arms were broken and his body exploded. His current body couldn't withstand all of his power. Fortunately, he hadn't broken through. Otherwise, his body would have exploded without a fight. Yi Qinghan frowned. He was very dissatisfied with this body. The difference between it and his Dao body was too great. But the experts of the entire cold water planet were stunned. Was this body still human? The immemorial ominous devil could even tear apart the body of an Emperor realm expert. Yi Qinghan could actually fight 1 against 2 and send them flying. Meanwhile, he only suffered some superficial wounds. The ominous devil let out a mournful roar and fell back dozens of miles. His body crashed into several mountain ranges and was badly mutilated. It was incomparably miserable. His iron claws tore through the earth and only stopped after a long time. Boom. Yi Qinghan stepped forward, frowning. He couldn't help but feel disappointed that he couldn't kill the 2 ominous devils, even though he had reached the large success stage of the earth element. It's not that the earth's profound origin isn't strong enough. It's that my understanding isn't deep enough. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like stars. With every step he took, the earth trembled. Everything became restless, and the great Tao rumbled. The parrot and fire crow rushed out of their bodies and spat out a mouthful of flames. Yi Qinghan's hands swiped across the void and continuously formed hand seals. Supported by the 8th grade fire origin, the flames burned the heavens. His entire body was bathed in a river of blood. The heat wave sent the 3 Emperor realm experts flying. The people behind them were madly fleeing out of purgatory. Prairie fire technique, fire burns the heavens. Whoosh. Yi Qinghan's speed was unprecedented. He rushed 1,000 miles away in an instant and wrapped the 2 ominous devils in flames. Ah! Roar! The ominous devils screamed and turned to flee. However, Yi Qinghan had covered the entire central region of purgatory with his fire origin. No matter how they ran, they couldn't break free from the shackles of the flames. The 8th grade flame essence burned everything. No matter how strong the body was, it couldn't withstand the flames. Not to mention, the ominous devil's filthy and evil energy was especially heavy. Once they came in contact with the flames, they immediately burned. The ominous devils shattered the earth and began to flee into the depths of purgatory. The heroes trembled with fear. They originally thought that a fierce battle was about to break out, but they didn't expect that Yi Qinghan alone would force them to retreat. Whether or not the ominous devils could escape was a question. However, Yi Qinghan didn't want to kill them. He lowered the temperature of the flame essence and followed them into the depths. This madman, he can't really be thinking of going to the celestial wizard race's ancestral star, right? If the ancient ominous devil race grows stronger and a great emperor enters, he won't be able to escape. The Xianyuan army was shocked. How powerful was the celestial wizard race in the past? Wasn't it destroyed in the end? Not to mention, there were only a few ancient ominous devils at that time. Roar. The deeper they went, the more black holes there were. Yi Qinghan was worried that the ominous devils would be swallowed up by the black holes, so he dispersed the prairie blazing spark technique and quietly followed behind the 2 ominous devils. As time passed, the ominous devils arrived at the deepest depths. They were in an extremely difficult situation. They looked back and saw that no one was following them, so they directly jumped into a black hole. Yi Qinghan frowned. He discovered that the position of the black hole was fixed. It wasn't like the other black holes that moved around randomly. If one didn't look carefully, with so many moving black holes, they wouldn't have noticed it at all. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan followed closely into the black hole. He discovered that there was a deep passage here. It didn't have a terrifying tearing force, as if it were a space-time tunnel. The 2 ominous devils rushed into the tunnel and disappeared without a trace. This isn't a pure black hole. The tearing force and space storms inside the black hole have been eliminated. Moreover, the space here is abnormally stable. A powerhouse must have created a wormhole to travel through. Yi Qinghan was shocked. Who could do this? Was it someone from the Supreme Witch race? Was it the witch ancestor? Yi Qinghan couldn't believe how terrifying the witch race was during their peak. Could it be that there were only a few ominous devils that could destroy the witch race? Whoosh! Yi Qinghan also jumped into the wormhole. His figure sped forward. Time reversed around him and countless stars appeared. It was as if he had experienced half of the universe. Yi Qinghan looked at the nebulas around him and didn't move recklessly. It was already not bad for a great monarch to understand 1/10 of the mysteries of the universe. There were many unknown existences and dangers that could erupt at any time. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Yi Qinghan followed the immemorial devil out of the wormhole and landed in the sky above a vast dead star. The death chi of this star was 10,000 times denser than the death chi of Owl War star. Its surface area wasn't smaller than the Monarch Domain, and was even bigger than the Monarch Domain or the Eternal Battlefield. The eerie death chi and murderous intent rushed into the clouds. There seemed to be countless ferocious beasts buried in the depths of this vast dead star. They could break through the shackles at any time and kill their way into the 9 heavens. Chapter 391. The sorcerer race represented an era that could not be surpassed. At the end of the Savage Era and the beginning of the Immemorial Era, the sorcerer race had developed their sorcery to its peak. At that time, even a small sorcerer race tribe could sweep through a region. Their powerful sorcery could destroy mountains and rivers in an instant. They could cause the bloodline of the monarch race to dry up. However, the fall of the sorcerer era was inexplicable. The sorcerer race's ancestral planet seemed to have disappeared into the endless universe overnight. Only a few sorcerer race tribes in the periphery survived. However, as time passed, the sorcerer race began to hide. Yi Qinghan looked at the lifeless sorcerer race's ancestral planet. He knew that the sorcerer race's ancestral planet was not destroyed like the Owl War star. Although the sorcerer race's ancestral planet was damaged and seemed to have undergone a great war, no one in that era could break through the sorcerer race's ancestral planet. According to the illusory records, the sorcerer race was a crazy race. They used sorcery to create many powerful creatures. They captured the royal bloodline of thousands of races and the special constitution of the human race. They merged the origin of the constitution with the blood of the royal family. Then, they used the powerful creatures' bodies to reconstruct the bodies of the real supreme beasts. The immemorial demon was one of them, but it was not the strongest. The human race could not become the creator. This was set by the heavens. The sorcerer race's actions angered the heavens. The sorcerer race's creatures became the weapon of the heavens and slaughtered the sorcerer race. This was only an illusory legend. Yi Qinghan did not know whether it was true or not. Neither did the divine bird. After the sorcerer race's ancestral land disappeared, the great emperors of the past had searched for it, but to no avail. Yi Qinghan concealed himself and descended on the sorcerer race's ancestral planet. He wanted to find out the truth of the sorcerer race's ancestral planet. Perhaps he could rely on this to find a way to leave. This place is not something that 1 or 2 great emperors can destroy. Moreover, the sorcerer race's ancestral land disappeared overnight. The parrot was shocked. It saw the terror of the universe. This was only the tip of the iceberg. The Savage Era had ended, and then the sorcerer race's era had also ended mysteriously. There were too many unknowns in the universe. The yellow sand covered everything. There was no life force, not even bones remained. No matter how powerful a person was, they wouldn't be able to withstand the erosion of hundreds of thousands of years. The emperor corpse should have already disappeared. Yi Qinghan did not dare to make any conclusions, but he was certain that there were more than 1 or 2 primordial ominous demons. It was very likely that they had already formed a race in some region. Sha sha sha. Yi Qinghan released the multicolored snake and allowed it to freely search for the ruins of the past. Many tribes had been buried underground. If it wasn't for the multicolored snake, Yi Qinghan wouldn't have been able to find them. Broken mountain ranges were snapped in half and stained with blood. It was like hell. There were no trees on the desolate plains, only a few rotting branches. They were extremely thick and would scatter as soon as the wind blew. No one knew how many people from the sorcerer tribe had died in a single night, and the number of living creatures was inestimable. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. The cruelty of the universe seemed to be even crueler than the Forbidden Lands. It was unimaginably cruel. Hiss! The colorful snake suddenly increased its speed and rushed towards a dusky mountain range. Yi Qinghan followed closely behind. Yellow sand had piled up at the bottom of the mountain range. Yi Qinghan saw the colorful snake constantly twisting its body, trying to burrow into the ground. However, the sand here was abnormally firm, like the material of a Boundary Emperor weapon. Yi Qinghan stepped on the yellow sand and used his divine sense to probe down. He discovered that he could only extend it for a dozen meters at most. Open! Yi Qinghan swiped the void and used the profound meaning of the earth. However, he discovered that the soil here had completely changed. Even with the profound meaning of the earth, he could not move the soil on a large scale. Kacha! The solidified yellow sand split open about 5 to 6 meters deep. Yi Qinghan's spirit was immediately exhausted, and his vital essence was almost exhausted. Yi Qinghan exhaled a turbid breath. He was stunned by the primordial universe. How did the people of the past fight against the heavens and destroy mountains and rivers? Could the great emperor really destroy a star with one punch when he was young? If he could, how big was the gap between him and them? Yi Qinghan found it hard to believe. The ancestral planet of the sorcerer race had not been destroyed after such a destructive battle. This meant that the great emperor was not as terrifying as the legends said. Otherwise, there was only one explanation. This star was definitely the largest star in the primordial era, and it was unknown how many stars it had swallowed to form this planet of life. The density of a star determined its mass. This ancestral planet's mass was definitely the strongest that Yi Qinghan had ever seen. It was several times stronger than the Imperial Domain and the Eternal Battlefield. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the ground and swallowed an 8th-grade ancient medicine. He constantly recovered his spirit and vital essence. After recovering, he continued tearing the ground to see what was below. The density of the soil underground was even higher. Tearing the ground of the same depth actually required twice the amount of spirit. He repeated this cycle. After tearing the ground to 100 meters, he spent more than 6 hours and used up 5 8th-grade ancient medicines. His soul had increased by a lot, but in the later stages, it could not grow any further. Yi Qinghan was helpless against the shackles of his physical body and realm. After 100 meters, he found the ruins of the sorcerer race. It looked like a small tribe. In order to investigate clearly, Yi Qinghan wasted several days to remove all the surrounding sand and sand, revealing the ruins of the past. The complete corpses had been petrified. Yi Qinghan polished them out and found that there were no scars on the bones. According to the density of the bones, their realms were roughly between the immortal Dao divine martial realm. There were no wounds on the outside, and the way they fell to the ground was quite strange. It was as if their souls had been directly wiped out, and then they collapsed. The surrounding buildings were intact and connected to the ground. This could only mean one thing. These people were definitely not killed by the aftermath, or the buildings would have collapsed. Why do I feel that this matter is so strange? What kind of person can wipe out all the living beings on a planet in an instant? The parrot bristled. Finally, there was something beyond its imagination. Yi Qinghan shook his head. He was now sure that the sorcerer race in the periphery died in this way. Now he had to see how the truly powerful celestial sorcerer race, those who could fight the heavens and change the earth, died. The souls of the sorcerer race were relatively stronger than the souls of others. To be able to wipe out the souls of the sorcerer race on the ancestral planet in an instant, the cultivation of the other party was absolutely terrifying. Let's go to the center. If we can find a palace that hasn't been petrified and is well protected by a formation, then the secret will be revealed. Yi Qinghan stepped out of the ground with the multicolored snake and continued to approach the depths. An eerie pressure shrouded the area, darkening the sky and making it difficult for one's divine sense to extend beyond 1,000 meters. Even the parrot's divine ability was suppressed. In the depths, 2 fiendish devils were covered in wounds, their bodies badly mangled and emitting a foul stench. At this moment, they were running wildly and came to a deep canyon. There was actually some vitality in this place. The forest was lush, the river was murmuring, and weeds were growing everywhere. There were many caves on both sides of the cliff, each of them big and small. The big ones were dozens of feet long, and the small ones were about 10 feet long. The caves were dark, and they couldn't even see their fingers in front of them. The two injured fiendish devils directly drilled into the cave and licked each other's wounds. Their eyes were filled with anger and murderous intent. Whoosh! Another primordial fiendish devil shot out from one of the caves. It was more than 20 feet long, and its aura was several times stronger than the previous two fiendish devils. It kept sniffing as if it could smell the scent of flesh and blood. Then, it rushed out of the canyon and rushed towards Yi Qinghan's direction. Yi Qinghan didn't know that danger was approaching and kept approaching the depths. Not good, there's danger, the parrot suddenly said. Yi Qinghan also felt his heart pounding as if a powerful creature was approaching. Although he couldn't sense it with his divine sense, it was a sense of danger that enveloped him. There was no need to think too much. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan changed directions, but that feeling didn't disappear. Instead, it became even more intense, as if a vicious creature was rapidly approaching them. Yi Qinghan restrained his life aura and didn't release any true essence fluctuations. He quickly hid in a valley and stared at his original position. After about an incense stick of time, a powerful primordial fiendish devil appeared in front of him. Its eyes were like those of a dragon and were extremely powerful. At this moment, it was constantly sniffing and baring its teeth as it roared. Roar! The primordial fiendish devil swept its gaze over the surroundings. Its eyes were like scorching suns, causing one to tremble with fear. It was as if it could see through everything. Yi Qinghan didn't dare to move carelessly. He didn't even dare to use his divine sense to lock onto the fiendish devil. This unknown creature was extremely terrifying. Once exposed, they would definitely be chased by countless vicious creatures. Even wanting to escape would be unrealistic. The parrot and the multicolored snake directly returned to Yi Qinghan's body and waited for Yi Qinghan's orders. Yi Qinghan didn't want to fight with such a vicious creature and only calmly looked at it. At this moment, the primordial fiendish devil was furious. It had lost the scent of flesh and blood in this place, causing it to be incomparably furious. Bang! The fiendish devil's fist pierced through dozens of meters of earth. A deep trench extended for dozens of miles and directly rushed to Yi Qinghan's feet. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He was stunned by the strength of this creature's body. He had used the profound of earth and could only tear through a few meters of earth. Yet the fiendish devil's fist could create such a large formation. If it landed on his body would definitely explode in an instant. Even if my true body were here, I wouldn't be its opponent. I can only attack from afar and not in close combat. Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank. He was shocked by the mysteries of witchcraft. Witchcraft was too terrifying. It could actually create such a creature. If it was said to be the wrath of heaven, then he would really believe it. The most powerful aspect of the primordial fiendish devil was its body and bloodline. Its body was that of the dragon race, and its blood was that of the human race's special constitution. It was even the blood of the royal family of 10,000 races. This creature's body could obliterate any other creature's body. Within the same realm, it could even kill dragons and black tortoises. I wonder how many more fiendish devils are here. If I can subdue a few and bring them back, then I might be able to sweep through the forbidden area. Yi Qinghan's eyes flickered as his ambition soared. Chapter 392. Divine Bird, do you think this creature has intelligence? Can you trick it? Yi Qinghan looked at the ominous demon and secretly whispered to the parrot. Gulp. The parrot swallowed a mouthful of saliva. If he wanted it to trick an ancient ominous demon, he would have to be tired of living. A single punch would be enough to blow it apart. Master, don't joke around. I am an intelligent almighty being. I will never deal with such a creature. Why don't you try to trick it yourself? I won't do it. The parrot righteously refused without hesitation. Yi Qinghan curled his lips and bitterly smiled. If he had such eloquence, then he wouldn't be Yi Qinghan. Then do you know the weakness of this creature? My body can't even take a single punch from it. I can't even get close to it and subdue it. Yi Qinghan frowned. He wanted to try and subdue the ominous demon. This was a crazy idea, just like the witch race of the past. Perhaps it was because of this crazy idea that the witch race was exterminated. It has no weakness. Its body and bloodline are all perfect. Its soul was specially created by the witch race. After so many years of evolution, it is absolutely perfect. Kill it. Leaving this thing in this world is a disaster. The parrot earnestly said. Yi Qinghan was silent for a moment. If this thing got used to sunlight and got rid of its filthy evil energy, it would be truly perfect. I want to study the order of its body. Maybe it will be of some help to my Tao body. Yi Qinghan decided not to destroy it with the mirror of reincarnation. He was secretly waiting for an opportunity. Sure enough, just as the ominous demon was about to go berserk, a creature he had never seen before rushed out from the depths. It was somewhat similar to a tiger man. It was a human-faced tiger man, and was 3 meters tall. It was a bit taller than an ordinary person. It was covered in golden armor, and held a spear in its hand. It had a pair of wings on its back. As soon as it appeared, the ominous demon roared in alarm, and continuously retreated, as if it was afraid of it. A primordial ominous demon over 30 meters tall was actually afraid of a 10-meter-tall tiger man. Moreover, it was as young as a child. Perhaps it was a bit comical, but the divine bird didn't think so. At this moment, it appeared in Yi Qinghan's sea of consciousness with an expression of shock. Master, it looks like the ancestor of sorcery. It's the second generation of the ancestor of sorcery. It's just that it's missing something. Could it be that the sorcery tribe didn't go extinct, but just went into seclusion? The divine bird looked at the tiger man in horror, through Yi Qinghan's eyes and murmured. Yi Qinghan stared fixedly at the tiger man. He suddenly had a bad feeling. The disappearance of the shaman tribe must be accompanied by a secret today. In this world, who could make a primordial ominous demon so afraid? Only the creator of the ominous devils, the shaman race. Roar! The tiger man of the shaman race roared, reprimanding ominous demon as if blaming him for destroying the ancestral star. The ominous demon nodded continuously, as obedient as a kitten. How could he dare to show the slightest bit of ferocity? Yi Qinghan was shocked. Indeed, these ominous creatures could communicate with each other, but they were only afraid of the creator of the shaman race. The eyes of the tiger man of the shaman race pierced through the origin, as if it could see through everything. With a glance, it swept across Yi Qinghan's direction, causing Yi Qinghan's hair to stand on end. A series of shaman race language sounded. Yi Qinghan couldn't understand what it was saying, but he was sure that it was talking to him. It discovered me? Yi Qinghan was shocked. He hid behind the mountain with his aura restrained. There wasn't even a trace of true yuan fluctuation. Was the tiger man trying to trick him, or did it really discover him? Yi Qinghan didn't move and gradually retracted his body, no longer looking at the ominous demon, and the tiger man boom. The tiger man threw a spear that pierced through the mountain, and directly smashed towards Yi Qinghan. Hua! The sound of air being torn apart spread in all directions as the spear pierced through the mountain rocks and pierced towards Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was shocked. He couldn't care less as he rolled and dodged the spear in a sorry state. The spear slashed past his body, leaving bloody wounds and his battle robe in tatters. Hiss! Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He hadn't felt pain for a long time, but he found it unbearable. Humph! The tiger man snorted and waved his hand, retrieving the spear. With a flap of his wings, he arrived in front of Yi Qinghan and spoke the shaman race language. Yi Qinghan couldn't understand what he was saying. Divine bird, what is he saying? Yi Qinghan was on guard. The spear's power was too terrifying. It might even be able to pierce through an emperor weapon and shatter the reincarnation mirror. He's asking who you are and why you're here. I can only understand part of the shaman race language. I can't speak it, the parrot said as it jumped out of his body and ran to his shoulder. Yi Qinghan looked at the tiger man in front of him and cupped his fists. I'm Yi Qinghan. I accidentally fell into the primordial purgatory and followed the tracks of 2 primordial demons to the shaman race's ancestral planet. You must be a descendant of the shaman race. I have no ill intentions. I hope you won't blame me. In the end, the tiger man of the shaman race babbled again. The parrot rolled its eyes. The shaman race's language was different from the human language, so it didn't know much. Can you speak the human language? We can't understand what you're saying, Yi Qinghan said with a wry smile. Human, what's your purpose in coming to the shaman race's ancestral planet? The tiger man said awkwardly. Yi Qinghan was overjoyed. It was great that they could communicate. He quickly cupped his fists and said, I want to return to the endless universe through the shaman race's ancestral planet. I wonder if you know how to leave? Sorry, the ancestral planet has been sealed and won't come out again. Go back to where you came from. If you stay any longer, I'll kill you. The tiger man said coldly with a touch of coldness on his young face. Fellow, it's been hundreds of thousands of years since the primordial shaman race's era. If I didn't have a spiritual pet like the spirit-devouring divine eagle, I wouldn't know what the shaman race had gone through. So please don't suspect that I have any ulterior motives for the shaman race. Now that the human race is in danger, I want to go back immediately. Please help me for the sake of the endless universe, and I'll repay your kindness in the future. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. The tiger man's spear trembled and pointed at Yi Qinghan with a murderous look. Roar! The primordial demon roared and wanted to kill Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan retreated slightly and looked directly at the tiger man. He held the mirror of reincarnation in his left hand and the berserk hammer in his right hand. He stared at the tiger man in front of him, his knuckles turning white. It was obvious that he had used up all his strength. Fellow, the shaman race is in great trouble. I'm sure you can understand how I feel now. Are you going to hide when your people are in trouble? Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. You're courting death. The spear pierced through the sky and instantly arrived in front of Yi Qinghan. Boom! The berserk hammer attacked, and the great Dao surrendered. Yellow sand danced in the air as the saber and the spear collided. Thud, thud, thud. Yi Qinghan retreated a few steps, but the tiger man didn't move at all. It was obvious that the tiger man's combat power was absolutely superb. Yi Qinghan's face turned ugly. He had to retreat. This body was too weak and was fundamentally different from his origin Taoist body. If he didn't retreat, he might be able to defeat the tiger man, but his body would explode. The loss outweighed the gain. Hey, look at you. You look like the shaman ancestor of the shaman race, Ru Shou. If you have something to say, say it. Why do you have to use your saber and spear? Where's your master? We can discuss it. Maybe we have common interests. The parrot quickly mediated, afraid that Yi Qinghan would be at a disadvantage. Spirit-devouring godly eagle? That's a true divine object. But with your strength, it's too weak. The tiger man said disdainfully. What do you know? Master's body is in the endless universe. This isn't his body. Otherwise, with your strength, it would be good if you could withstand one attack. The parrot said angrily. Childish. Since you don't leave, I'll bury you. Swish, swish, swish. The spear was like a bolt of lightning, piercing through heaven and earth and pressing down with the sky. It was so powerful that no one had the heart to resist. Boom. For a moment, the sky fell and the earth cracked. No one could dodge. The parrot was so scared that it returned to Yi Qinghan's body. Yi Qinghan frowned and crossed his legs. He stared at the spear in the sky. His large hand manipulated the order of space, reversing time and space. Whoosh! The tiger man's spear was clearly aimed at Yi Qinghan, but in the end, it stabbed into a distant mountain. Even a tall mountain was shaken by it. It was obvious how powerful it was. I didn't expect you to have comprehended the space law and the order law, but in front of absolute strength, you're too weak. The tiger man shouted coldly and stabbed out with his spear again. It broke through mountains and rivers, ignoring space as it attacked Yi Qinghan's body. Space continued to collapse. The tiger man's wings flapped the heavenly river. Yellow sand covered the sky, blocking out divine sense and blinding sight. Yi Qinghan closed his eyes. He waved his robe and concealed a blade. He actually used the crimson drill palm, which contained the principles of the 8 trigrams in Taiji. He manipulated the airflow in all directions, and if the airflow was changed, he would counterattack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The tiger man was confident in his cultivation and didn't care what Yi Qinghan was doing. He pierced through with his spear and broke through the airflow. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan tore through the air. His body brushed past the spear and turned into a snake that coiled around the tiger man. Everyone had their strengths and weaknesses. When the two of them got close, Yi Qinghan stuck to the other side. No matter how the tiger man rolled and dodged, he couldn't break free from Yi Qinghan's restraint. Boom! Yi Qinghan continuously attacked the tiger man, leaving as soon as he touched him. He was not greedy for merit, and in close combat, the tiger man couldn't display any of his strengths. In an instant, the heavens and earth cracked and the mountains collapsed. When the primordial demon saw that Yi Qinghan and the tiger man were stuck together, he couldn't attack at all. Otherwise, he would definitely injure the shamans. He couldn't help but feel anxious and angry. Scram! The tiger man was furious. After being attacked continuously, he couldn't help but fly into a rage. He waved his iron fist and smashed it towards Yi Qinghan. However, Yi Qinghan's heavenly dragon eagle binding hand was self-created and used extremely well. Just as he was about to be attacked, he flashed behind him. Boom! Puffed! The tiger man punched himself in the chest and spat out a mouthful of blood essence as he fell backwards. Yi Qinghan grinned. He waved his big hand and took advantage of the situation to strike his back. The tiger man was in pain. His spear flew out of his hand and pierced into the ground. His wings were almost broken by Yi Qinghan. Crack! Yi Qinghan grabbed the tigerman's iron arm and flipped it around several times, completely capturing it. Then he kicked the tigerman's calf, breaking its bones and causing it to kneel on the ground. Let me go! Damn it, how dare you injure me! Tiger man was furious. He struggled with all his might, but Yi Qinghan grabbed his wrist and pushed him to the ground. Then he placed Mad Chong on his neck. You'd better be quiet for a while and listen to me. I promise I won't hurt you. If you're still stubborn, then I won't be polite. Yi Qinghan said coldly as his killing intent shot out in all directions. Chapter 393. Roar. The immemorial demon roared and bared his fangs, glaring at Yi Qinghan. His body slightly bent, ready to erupt with a terrifying power that could destroy mountains and rivers at any time. Yi Qinghan watched the immemorial demon deceiving the tiger man and frowned slightly. He was sure that the immemorial demon was not responsible for the destruction of the sorcerer race. The sorcerer race would not be stupid enough to create a peerless monster that would not listen to them. Sorcerer race, you and I are both humans. Why do you have to make things difficult for me? Yi Qinghan coldly rebuked. Let me go first. How dare you blaspheme the bloodline of the celestial sorcerer race? I will kill you. The tiger man roared. He was extremely unwilling to be trampled under someone's foot. You still don't understand the situation. I can kill you with a wave of my hand. Yi Qinghan raised his long saber and the saber chi pierced the tigerman's skin. The tigerman immediately fell silent and did not dare to struggle anymore. What do you want? The tigerman asked angrily after a long time. I want to know how to leave this place and how to go to the endless universe. Yi Qinghan coldly said. I said the ancestral star has been sealed. It is impossible to leave without reaching the great emperor realm. No one can enter. The tiger man angrily rebuked. Yi Qinghan frowned and clenched his fists. He asked hoarsely, who destroyed the sorcerer race? We might have a common enemy. The tiger man immediately became alert and coldly replied, this has nothing to do with you. If you are only looking for a way out, I advise you to leave immediately. Otherwise, you will be killed no matter how strong you are. The destruction of the sorcerer race indeed has nothing to do with me. However, the person who destroyed your race is a threat to me. This time, I am not only here to leave this place, but also to find out why the sorcerer race was destroyed. Don't you want revenge? Yi Qinghan coldly rebuked. You can't even kill an immemorial demon, and you want to deal with others? Ridiculous. The tiger man wanted to stand up, his veins bulging, but he couldn't support one of Yi Qinghan's legs. On the eerie ancestral star, other than the sound of the wind, it was eerily quiet. The primordial demon was afraid of Yi Qinghan, fearing that he would kill the tiger man. He could only glare at Yi Qinghan angrily, and did not dare to approach. Yi Qinghan fell silent. who was the one who destroyed the shaman tribe. It actually made this powerful tiger man lose all thoughts of revenge. Trash, you don't even dare to take revenge for your blood debt. You don't even dare to mention it. Killing you would only dirty my blade. Scram. Boom. Yi Qinghan sent Flying Tiger Man flying with a kick as he sneered. Boom. The tiger man slammed into a mountain and rolled a dozen times before coming to a stop. Now he was enraged. He roared at the primordial ominous demon, and the ominous demon immediately charged at Yi Qinghan. Whoosh! The earth cracked as the ominous demon punched at Yi Qinghan. Its energy blew up the yellow sand. It was several times stronger than the tiger man. How could Yi Qinghan face it head-on? His figure flashed and appeared on the ominous demon's left side. He swept his blade at the ominous demon's waist. The ominous demon reached out to grab at Yi Qinghan. It didn't fear Yi Qinghan's strength at all. Boom! The energy struck the ominous demon, but it didn't retreat half a step. Instead, it charged at Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan hurriedly retracted his blade and changed his position once more. He mobilized the fire origin and spread it all over the mountains and rivers. Whoosh! Flames burned the heavens. This was the bane of such vicious creatures. However, this ominous demon was several times stronger than the previous two. It had a certain resistance against a grade 8 fire origin. It punched through the earth, sweeping up yellow sand and throwing it at the flames. The sand blocked the flames, but it followed closely behind. It had intelligence, and it was very tall. Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. He flew into the sky and roared. Armor transformation. Screech, huge wings beat the sky, stirring up the yellow sand. Its aura was overwhelming. 9 revolutions heavenly dragon style. Roar. A dragon swept the sky. Yellow sand rushed into the clouds, forming a huge heavenly dragon sand absorption. Its aura was majestic. Sha sha sha. The ominous demon's eyes couldn't open because of the sand. Its body was constantly flying toward the whirlpool. It couldn't control its body at all. The whirlpool's power grew stronger and stronger. The ominous demon's iron claws dug into the ground as it roared. The tiger man was furious. He grabbed a spear and threw it out. The spear tore through the void and attacked the heavenly dragon. Yi Qinghan's move was interrupted. He could only soar into the sky again. He stood at the peak of the void and looked down at the tiger man and the ominous demon. You have skills but don't dare to take revenge for your ancestors. You are even more useless than trash. Yi Qinghan mocked. Who said I am useless? It's just that the enemy is too strong. My race is hibernating. The tiger man roared. Hibernating? Hibernating until your courage is gone. You don't even dare to speak when you think of your enemy, right? Yi Qinghan's lips curled up as he asked indifferently. What do you know? My race's supreme glory was uprooted overnight. There are less than 1,000 of us left. After hundreds of thousands of years of cultivation, we are not even 1/10,000th of our original strength. How can we take revenge? The tiger man roared angrily. It's just an excuse. You are just finding an excuse to hide. Yi Qinghan mocked, trying to provoke the tiger man in front of him, hoping to find some useful information. I can't be bothered to talk to you. When my witch ancestor... Shut up. The tiger man was still young. After being mocked by Yi Qinghan, he immediately wanted to tell the truth. However, the witch ancestor star roared, interrupting the tiger man's words. A terrifying aura enveloped Yi Qinghan. That aura was much stronger than Emperor realm experts like Emperor Shang. It was a quasi-emperor. A quasi-emperor's might was very strong. One could tell with just one aura. The endless universe had indeed fallen. The witch race's secret techniques had not been broken. A quasi-emperor of the witch race could sweep away all the emperor-level experts in the outside world. Yi Qinghan's body tensed up. His blood vessels froze, and his breathing became difficult. His movements were restricted. Among those at the same level, it was not that Yi Qinghan was too strong. It was that those at the same level in the outside world were too weak. This tiger man was also at the divine martial realm. Yi Qinghan could only rely on techniques to defeat him. He could not suppress him by force unless his main body came personally. Yi Qinghan of the Endless Universe greets the Witch Race Senior. Yi Qinghan stared at the newcomer, neither servile nor overbearing. The witch race quasi-emperor looked like an old man in his 50s. His might was restrained, and he was imposing without being angry. He casually walked, and his words and actions followed. This was a true primordial quasi-emperor. In fact, he was slightly inferior. What are you trying to find out by provoking a junior of my race? You're from the endless universe. How did you come to our ancestral planet? The old man reprimanded coldly. The witch race is also a member of the human race. Back then, they were glorious and heaven-defying. But they were destroyed overnight. I'm naturally interested. I also want to know what kind of enemy did this and massacred the human race. This is a question that any normal person would think of. As for how I came here, it was purely a coincidence, Yi Qinghan said seriously. The witch race quasi-emperor looked at Yi Qinghan indifferently and asked hoarsely, "Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you?" "I'm afraid. If you attack, I won't be able to resist. But I think you're a sensible person and won't kill me." Yi Qinghan stared at the old man. He was speaking from the bottom of his heart. If the old man wanted to attack, he would not have a chance even if he had the reincarnation mirror. If his main body came, he might be able to escape. Unfortunately, he did not even have the chance to do so now. Then let me be the sensible person. How did you come to our ancestral planet? The old man asked coldly. Yi Qinghan gripped his long saber. His knuckles turned white, and he was a little nervous. After all, the old man in front of him was beyond his imagination. I fought with the great emperor of the Forbidden Lands, and accidentally tore through space-time to enter the primordial purgatory. Then I followed the primordial demon into this place. However, I only wanted to find the way back. I have no ill intentions towards the witch race, Yi Qinghan explained. Ah, you can fight to the death with the great emperor of the Forbidden Lands? Has the Forbidden Lands fallen? The witch race quasi-emperor laughed maniacally as a trace of hatred flashed across his eyes. Yi Qinghan caught the hatred in the other's eyes and immediately knew that the sorcerer tribe and the Forbidden Lands must have had a grudge, a blood feud. He muttered to himself. Could the sorcerer tribe have been destroyed by the Forbidden Lands? Answer me. If you dare to lie to me, I have 100 ways to make you tell the truth. The witch race quasi-emperor glared at Yi Qinghan and said coldly. 300 years ago, the endless universe was attacked by the Forbidden Grounds. There were a total of 4 great emperors, while our race only had a few great emperors. Fortunately, there was a great emperor of the human race in the Forbidden Grounds who didn't betray us. Our race also had a great emperor Dao Fruit, which was the nemesis of undead spirit bodies. In the end, both sides suffered great losses. Our race was almost completely wiped out. The great emperor of the human race even paid the price of self-destruction, to severely injure the last great emperor of the enemy. I borrowed the great emperor of the Tianwu race's great emperor's corpse. In the end, both sides suffered great losses. The great emperor of the human race even used the price of self-destruction to severely injure the last great emperor of the enemy. The witch race quasi-emperor's eyes flashed and he said indifferently, "You have the guts to use the emperor corpse to fight against the dead spirit great emperor. What can I do if I don't fight? Won't I be destroyed all the same?" Yi Qinghan replied in a low voice. "That's right. How can the dead spirits of the Forbidden Grounds be trusted? If it weren't for them, my race wouldn't have been annihilated." The witch race quasi-emperor roared with hatred. Yi Qinghan's fingertips moved slightly, and he put away berserk. He looked at the old man in front of him, and knew that his chance had come. "Senior, since you and I have the same enemy, why don't we work together? Now that the endless universe is weak, I need to rush back immediately. I hope that Senior can help me. When the sorcerer race and the Forbidden Grounds fight, I will lead the endless universe's experts to give you a hand. Flatten the Forbidden Grounds." Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and said, "Impossible. Not to mention that the ancestral star is sealed. Even if there is a passage, I can't let you leave. How can the survival of the sorcerer race be in your hands?" The witch race quasi-emperor rebuked without hesitation. Yi Qinghan's face turned ugly. He didn't expect the sorcerer race to be so unreasonable. Moreover, The ancestral star has been imprisoned by the 12 great sorcerer ancestors using their bloodline power. The outside world can't find the ancestral star, and the people of the ancestral star can't leave and enter the endless universe unless someone of our race enters the sorcerer ancestors' realm. Therefore, this path is blocked. Since you are a human and have killed the dead spirits of the forbidden grounds, I will let you live. However, you can't leave the ancestral star, and you can't return to the immemorial purgatory either. The witch race quasi-emperor said domineeringly. Yi Qinghan stared at the old man and saw that he didn't seem to be lying. He muttered to himself, "Didn't the divine bird's father leave from here?" The tiger man frowned and looked at the witch race quasi-emperor. He reminded, "Elder witch, our race doesn't allow outsiders to enter the ruins. I'm afraid it's not good to leave him here. It's not our race's style to repay kindness with ingratitude. If we don't kill him, we can't let him leave. Once the outside world knows that there are survivors of the sorcerer race, our future will be even more difficult." The witch race quasi-emperor shook his head and was determined to keep Yi Qinghan on the ancestral star. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that he would run from the immemorial purgatory to the ancestral land of the sorcerer race. There was no way to return to the endless universe. Chapter 394. Just like that, Yi Qinghan was detained in the ancestral land of the sorcerer tribe and lost his freedom. He followed the sorcerer tribe quasi-emperor all the way to the center of the ancestral planet. Dilapidated palaces towered into the clouds and were everywhere. One could imagine the glory of the sorcerer tribe. The bloodstained stone walls were filled with runes. The formation had lasted for hundreds of thousands of years and had not completely dissipated. It could be seen how terrifying the sorcery of the sorcerer tribe was. The young tiger man was very dissatisfied with Yi Qinghan. He looked at the calm back of Yi Qinghan and snorted coldly. The sorcerer tribe is not the endless universe. Once you are here, you must speak according to the will of the sorcerer tribe. Otherwise, I will take your life. Yi Qinghan snorted and did not argue with him. Instead, he followed Elder Wu into the depths of the ancestral land. Behind the countless dilapidated palaces, a huge valley appeared. It was hundreds of square kilometers wide and was surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. It towered into the clouds and was vast and majestic. An ancient aura filled the air. This place had preserved the glory of the ancient era. Although it lacked a charm, it was still enough to make people not dare to be presumptuous here. Houses rose from the ground. They were very simple and were all built from ancient trees. They formed a huge tribe. The Tiger Man tribe was a branch of the sorcerer tribe that took in the descendants of the sorcerer ancestor. He had the face of a human and the body of a tiger, with a pair of wings on his back. Some magihumans had already evolved to the point where they looked almost like humans, just like Elder Wu. Other than his wings, he was no different from a human. Back then we had a total of 12 tribes, but now, there are only 8 left. The battle back then destroyed 4 tribes, and now, there are less than 3 million survivors. If we divide them into 8 tribes, each tribe has about 300,000 people. That's why our clansmen are precious. Every time we give birth to a clansman, we'll be rewarded with witchcraft arts and the witch ancestors' blood essence. Our clansmen are not allowed to kill each other. Whoever dares to kill will be buried with them. Our clansmen hate outsiders, so I hope you can bear with it. If you really can't, you can tell me and I'll settle it. Yi Qinghan nodded. It was normal for a tribe like this to hate outsiders. After all, the tragedy of the past was enough to be remembered by their ancestors. Let me introduce you to the tribe members. You will be living together for a long time in the future. Old Wu was determined to detain Yi Qinghan and brought him to the tribe. Upon entering the Russia tribe, most of the people had yet to shed their tigermen appearances. They all had the body of a tiger and the face of a human. Only a few of them had the face of a human. A few of them looked very young, but their combat strength definitely exceeded Yi Qinghan's. The Magus clan had their own levels of power. Novice Magus, Junior Magus, Senior Magus, Battle Magus, Senior Magus, Ancestor Magus. There were only 7 levels. Now the Rushu tribe had more women than men. Many of the powerful battle shamans were women. They had a human face and a human body. They had a pair of transparent wings on their backs. They wore battle armor and held long spears in their hands. They had imposing auras and were not inferior to men. Battle shamans were equivalent to the god martial arts stage of the human race. However, their strength was not any weaker than the superclass in the endless universe. In fact, they might even surpass them. Yi Qinghan's arrival immediately attracted everyone's attention. Senior Magus, who is this person? A powerful young man came with a long spear in his hand. He was very hostile. His eyes were like scorching suns as he stared at Yi Qinghan. This is an outsider, a hero of the endless universe. He once fought with the dead spirit emperor and is qualified to live here, Senior Magus said calmly. Him? I can kill a few of these people with my spear. How can he fight with the dead spirit emperor? The young man's eyes were full of disdain and doubt. His soul and body are indeed not completely compatible, but he still defeated Hua. This means that he still has some strength. Senior Magus shook his head. He saw through Yi Qinghan's nature and subconsciously believed Yi Qinghan's words. The dozen or so young men all had long spears in their hands. The tips of the spears were made of golden battle bones. They emitted a strong aura that pressed down on Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's long hair fluttered without wind. His battle robe fluttered as he calmly looked at this group of people. His state of mind was calm, and there was no trace of fear in his eyes. How could a great hero of the past be threatened by a group of boys and girls? Just based on this aura alone, he was able to fight against more than 10 experts without retreating an inch. This was enough to earn the respect of some people, and they no longer made things difficult for him. Some people introduced themselves, and some people reluctantly said their names. Yi Qinghan remembered them all in his heart. He cupped his fists and said, I am Yi Qinghan. Emph. Most of the Magihumans turned around and left, not giving him any face. Senior Magus smiled calmly. He looked at the leaving young men and explained, most of them are the strongest of the young generation. They are invincible in the tribe, and are on par with the young generation of the other tribes. They have always been like this, so don't mind them. Yi Qinghan smiled and nodded. Senior Magus, if there are any places that I can't go, you must tell me in advance. Otherwise, I have no intention of trespassing. Please forgive me. As long as you stay here peacefully, there are no forbidden places here. If you can get an opportunity, it means that you are lucky. If you die in some dangerous place, it only means that you are unlucky. Senior Magus shook his head and turned to the tiger man. Hua, arrange a room for fellow Yi. Don't deliberately make things difficult for him. Understand? Hua nodded reluctantly. He was very disgusted with Yi Qinghan. Moreover, he never thought that he would lose to an outsider. In these years, except for the top 10 young masters of the tribe, he had never lost to anyone. Follow me. Hua glared at Yi Qinghan and said coldly. Yi Qinghan smiled and left with Hua. Along the way, he found that the witch tribe lived under the ancient trees and built a wooden courtyard. They were like ordinary villagers. Each family was less than 10 meters apart and lived in harmony. I warn you, don't provoke the top 10 young masters, especially the second-ranked Ming Ke, the third-ranked Jiang Hengcheng, the eighth-ranked Jiang Feng, and the ninth and 10th-ranked Huiqi and Huili. The four of them hate you more than I do. If you provoke them, you are dead. Hua snorted. I won't provoke them. I will go into seclusion later. Don't worry, fellow Taoist. Yi Qinghan said calmly. That better be the case. Also, if others ask you how you defeated me, you better say that you went through a lot of hardships and were beaten by me. In the end, I exhausted my strength and was injured by your sneak attack. Do you understand? Hua glared at Yi Qinghan and said. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. This little guy was not xenophobic, but hated him for defeating him. You are so humorous. A loss is a loss. If my master's original Taoist body was here, it would be no problem for him to beat the top 10 young masters. The parrot disdainfully rushed out and mocked. Original Taoist body? What kind of original Taoist body? Hua was shocked and quickly asked. You are so short-sighted. My master has the 5 elements Taoist body. In the future, he will definitely build the 9 revolution chaos Taoist body. Just you wait, little brat. The parrot said proudly. TSK, the ancestral devouring spirit eagle only knows how to brag. It seems that it is true. What 5 elements Taoist body? I have never seen a 2 elements Taoist body and never heard of a 3 elements Taoist body. Do you think 5 elements Taoist body is everywhere? What a coincidence for me to meet one. Hua sneered disdainfully. He obviously did not believe in Yi Qinghan's 5 elements Taoist body. Yi Qinghan shook his head and whispered, Taoist Hua, let's arrange a place to stay first. We are already here. This house has been empty for more than 10 years. I live on the left. If you need anything, just call me. Hua pointed to a courtyard. It was overgrown with weeds, and it looked like no one had lived in it for many years. Yi Qinghan walked in, and found that the environment was quite good. The courtyard was bigger than the average courtyard, but no one lived in it. He felt a little strange. He glanced around and found that there was a small pond in the courtyard. However, the water was black and emitted a foul smell. The fallen leaves were piled up, and even weeds could not survive. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and removed all the smelly water and fallen leaves in the pond. The origin of water purified the lotus pond. He transferred the clean water from the underground and put a divine lotus seed in it. He also put some origin of earth at the bottom of the pond and began to weed the weeds in the courtyard. Hua leaned on the door and looked at Yi Qinghan working hard to weed the weeds. The corner of his mouth revealed an evil smile. Although there was no evil intention, there was a deep malice. This courtyard looked good, but no one lived in it. Clearly, there was a big problem. The 2 houses next to this courtyard were also unoccupied. They were very close to the foot of the mountain and were very far from the tribe. Although Hua lived on the left, there was still a distance of several hundred meters from this courtyard. This courtyard was empty and looked very strange. Yi Qinghan did not think too much. He was not afraid of the dead spirits, so why would he care about these evil things? Soon, Yi Qinghan turned over all the soil. He put some origin of earth in the courtyard and planted some rank 8 ancient herbs. The courtyard was immediately filled with spirit energy. Hua's face was full of desire. He wanted a few stalks, but he was too embarrassed to ask. Taoist friend, do you have a bed and quilt? Can you give me 2 sets? Yi Qinghan walked into the house and found that even the bed had collapsed. There was no decent furniture. It was simply uninhabitable. Bed and quilt? Of course there is, but there is no free lunch in this world. You need to give me something in exchange. Hua opened his mouth and directly said, I can give you some basic furniture, but it has to be a rank 8 ancient herb. Damn. Why don't you just rob me? The divine bird finally could not stand it. This bastard was clearly here to extort people. Yi Qinghan shook his head. This Hua was only 18 or 19 years old compared to the people outside. There was no need to take him seriously. Although a rank 8 ancient herb was very precious, in comparison, subduing this little guy might be more valuable than a rank 8 ancient herb. No problem, as long as you are willing to listen, there are many benefits. Yi Qinghan said straightforwardly. Are you serious? Hua's eyes flashed and he asked excitedly. Of course. Yi Qinghan nodded and said. Sure enough, money could make the devil turn millstones. Hua just resented Yi Qinghan for winning against him, but now his face was full of flattery. He personally ran home to take out 2 quilts and ran to the market to buy some basic furniture. In order to save money, he even built a bed and some tables and chairs for Yi Qinghan. Chapter 395. In the afternoon, Yi Qinghan made his little nest very comfortable. Before night fell, Hua ran away with a top-grade 8 ancient medicine. This little thing must be up to no good. Why do I feel that this room is a bit strange? The divine bird scanned the courtyard, but did not find anything special. How can there be no danger in the sorcerer race's ancestral star? So many people died, so the yin qi is definitely heavy. There should be a powerful existence buried under this courtyard, so some unclean things will appear at night and devour the yang qi of living beings. But no matter, I have a way to deal with it. Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently. Unclean things like yang qi. But they were even more afraid of the great Tao of yin and yang. Yi Qinghan poured out everything in the parrot's universe ring. There were countless treasures, at least 10 million mid-grade spirit crystals, a lot of high-grade spirit crystals, and at least a few hundred top-grade spirit crystals. Yi Qinghan did not want the mid-grade spirit crystals, so the divine bird collected them. As for the high-grade and top-grade spirit crystals, they were obviously cheated by the parrot. The divine bird was unwilling. Yi Qinghan's universe ring was in the ancestral star, and now the real treasures were in its possession. It had gathered so many treasures with great difficulty, but was it going to return to its original state in one night? Don't worry, I will compensate you in the future. What do you want to do with so many useless things? Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and forcibly took away the spirit crystals, ancient medicines, and divine lotus seeds. The divine bird was driven mad. It constantly flapped its wings and shouted. If it could beat Yi Qinghan, it would definitely help. Yi Qinghan did not ask. He curled his lips and said, "This is the sorcerer race's ancestral star. You can find many treasures, so why are you being so calculative with me? What treasures are there here? It's dead and the treasures are all hidden underground. I have to search carefully to find them. By the time I gather so many treasures, my fur will be white." The parrot angrily said. "You speak as if your fur is not white." Yi Qinghan was speechless. He took away most of the treasures he needed, and began to arrange a large array to control the flame essence on the surface, preventing all yin qi from entering the courtyard. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At night, the ancestral planet of the shamans was extremely terrifying. The wind howled and froze people's hearts. The sinister aura was more than 10,000 times denser than that of Owl War Planet. This was a place where billions of living beings had died unnatural deaths. Their resentment and stubbornness were enough to kill even the strongest experts. At night, the ancestral star was the world of the ancient demons. They devoured the baleful aura and cultivated their golden bodies. The tribe's formation was activated and golden light shone in all directions. Looking down from the sky, there were 7 other similar formations in the ancestral star. They were tens of thousands of miles away from each other, but they were all resonating with each other. Yi Qinghan made his house look like an iron bucket. He looked at the parrot and said, "Divine bird, I gave you a drop of my heart's blood before and told you to keep it. Why isn't it in the Qianquan ring? What are you trying to do? Didn't you say you were going to give this to me?" The divine bird asked in a serious tone as it took a few steps back, guarding against Yi Qinghan as if he were a thief. Yi Qinghan exhaled and rolled his eyes. "Do you want to leave and return to the imperial region or not?" "I don't want to. What does the matters of the imperial region have to do with me?" The divine bird replied without hesitation. Crack. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and took a deep breath to calm himself down. He said hoarsely, "Give it to me first. I want to forge a golden body of the origin of Earth. This Shuechen's body is really not suitable for me. It restricts my strength. In this dangerous place, you don't want me to die at any time, right? If I die, what do you want that drop of heart's blood for?" The parrot was dispirited. It had a bad habit of hiding good things for future use. In the end, it would always be cheated by this bad master. It was like drawing water with a sieve. It had all become Yi Qinghan's wedding dress. "Tell me, how are you going to make it up to me after this?" The parrot roared. "Be good. In the future, the god-slaying eagle and the multicolored snake will be under your command. You will be the boss." Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He had to coax the divine bird like he was coaxing a child. It would not back down without some benefits. In the end, the divine bird still took out that drop of blood. It did not hide it in the Qianquan ring, but in its own body. However, it did not fuse with it. The drop of golden heart's blood was majestic and vigorous. It was given to it by Yi Qinghan when he had just broken through to the divine martial arts realm. On one hand, it was to prevent accidents. On the other hand, it was to let the divine bird refine its body and blood. He did not expect that this fellow would not bear to use it. Yi Qinghan could still refine the true 5-elemental Tao body here. The heart's blood contained the 4 elemental origins and profound meanings. It did not contain the earth element or the water element. However, with the water elemental profound meaning and the earth elemental origin, it was complete. Fire. Yi Qinghan directly refined Xuechen's body. The last trace of Xuechen was also removed by Yi Qinghan. A wisp of Xuechen's soul was entrenched in the courtyard. The fire elemental origin coiled around. With the living soil as the foundation, the blood essence was mixed in. He was ready to refine the living soil into a physical body. The living soil was evolving the golden body according to Yi Qinghan's will. Every vein, organ, and even every pore had to be carefully refined. The 8th rank fire elemental origin was roasting the golden body. Once the golden body was successfully formed, it would be a middle rank 8 body. The parrot stood to the side, watching the golden body being formed bit by bit. It could not help but sigh. Now it was being completely oppressed by Yi Qinghan. It did not even have the chance to resist. Back then, for the sake of a blood ginseng, a single mistake could lead to everlasting regret. Looking back, it was already 100 years later. Blood vessels were constantly forming. Tendons and veins were being roasted and refined by the flames. Spiritual energy was stretched to the limit. If there was even the slightest mistake, this drop of heart's blood would be completely wasted. At that time, without a physical body to rely on, it would be like trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. Time slowly passed. The first main artery was formed. His entire body also took shape. With the living soil as the body, it could change shape at will. Even if it was crippled, it could still repair itself and be filled with vitality. The profound meanings of the 5 elements intertwined. The 4 profound meanings of metal, wood, water, and fire desperately tried to fuse with the living soil. The drop of heart's blood transformed into blood and filled the entire body. Drop by drop, it gathered in the blood vessels. Under the support of the 8th rank ancient medicine, the hematopoietic cells became abnormally active. A night passed. Yi Qinghan had only finished forming half of the head. His soul had found a host, but the other parts were still illusory. The structure of a human body was too complicated. With the strength of Yi Qinghan's soul, it would be difficult to complete the reconstruction without half a year's time. Time passed bit by bit. One day, 1 month, the shaman tribe was still quiet. During the day, they would enter the ancient forests and even the savage forests to hunt for vicious creatures. Many of the vicious creatures were created by the shaman tribe. Unfortunately, most of them had already gone out of control. This was because many of the shaman tribe had gone extinct. These vicious creatures were created by them and were incomparably tyrannical. The Tigerman tribe would go out every day. The young experts would pave the way for them. The ordinary shamans would use them as the center to fight and kill. Blood cloaks, spears, and shaman techniques filled the forest. On this day, everyone had a great harvest. They had subdued many strange beasts and also obtained a lot of food. Everyone gathered together. Mingke was a direct descendant of Reshu. Her bloodline was rich, and she was almost no different from a human. She was a peerless beauty. She held a golden spear in her hand, and her aura was like a rainbow. She was like a fairy of the mortal world, but she was also swift and decisive. The other geniuses also had an imposing aura. That Yi Qinghan, why hasn't he appeared since he entered the tribe? He couldn't have died in that courtyard, right? The 10th ranked Huoli asked curiously. Those who were able to enter the top 10 were definitely the best of the best. Moreover, they were the most powerful ones. Hua, who was not in the top 10, was able to destroy Yi Qinghan's body, let alone those who were in the top 10. Hua, come here. Huiqi waved her hand to summon Hua. This was a very valiant woman. She was tall and sturdy, even more manly than a man. Her voice was rough, and the spear in her right hand was very thick and long. It weighed over 10,000 jin. She was one of the most difficult women to provoke in the tribe. Hua's whole body trembled. He ran over and asked flatteringly, Sister Huiqi, what did you call me for? When we go back, get that Yi Qinghan out for me. I want to teach him a lesson and make him more obedient in the future. Huiqi said in a muffled voice. Ah, he has been very obedient recently. Hua was speechless. Huiqi was looking for trouble. What? Do you have a problem? Or have you been bribed? Wuxia stared and asked coldly. No. Absolutely not. According to your thoughts, I have already arranged for him to stay in that strange courtyard. I even suspect that he was tortured by the Yin Qi and sealed up. He hasn't come out for more than a month. He has not harmed us, so I think. Hua smiled bitterly. He did not want to offend Yi Qinghan again. What do you want? He is an outsider. Let's teach him a lesson first to prevent him from making mistakes in the future. This is for the good of our tribe. Jiang Feng, who was ranked 8th, said coldly. Except for Huashen, who was ranked 1st, the others nodded in agreement. They wanted to teach Yi Qinghan a lesson, so that he would completely submit to the sorcerer tribe. Tomorrow is the day of the sorcerer tribe's gathering. The elites of all the major tribes will gather in my tribe. If he is really invincible, he will definitely come out and ask for advice. If he does not have the courage, then there is no need for us to worry about him. Huakeir said lightly. Will the sorcerer elder be angry if we bully an outsider like this? Hua did not dare to refute. He could only use the sorcerer elder to intimidate these experts. Hua, did you receive benefits from him? Why have you been speaking up for him for a month? It seems that I need to investigate your loyalty to the sorcerer tribe. Huakeir frowned and looked at Hua. She was somewhat suspicious. The sorcerer tribe had always rejected outsiders. The tribe was unusually united. Hua's behavior had aroused their suspicion. Absolutely not. In all honesty, brothers and sisters, I, Hua, can't bear the crime of betraying the tribe. It's just that I feel that he has been very honest. It is unfair for so many of us to bully one person. It will damage the honor of our celestial wizard tribe. Hua explained timidly. Humph, Hua, you should know right from wrong. If I find out that you are working for him, don't blame me for being rude to you. Jiang Hengcheng, who was ranked 3rd, gripped the long spear in his hand and warned with a cold snort. Well, I will lure him out when I go back. Hua smiled bitterly. He could offend anyone but this group of overlords. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.